Oops. Oh, it's saying end stream. Am I actually live? I didn't click the start stream button on YouTube. Okay. Apparently I'm showing up. Okay. Why do I look so dark? Is that just this monitor? Sorry, you guys. I'm running late and I'm so unprepared. I don't know what my problem is this weekend. I guess it looks better on my left monitor is a little darker than my right one, so, and that's the one I use for. God, you look really. Did I forget to turn a light on or something? Something doesn't seem right, unless sun coming in through the window, but do I look super dark to you guys, or is it just me? I guess as long as you guys don't find it distracting, I guess it's okay. Let me get caught up on the chat. Wow, even Reba beat me here. Hi Sticks. RB Empathy, I think you're new. Welcome to the chat. Hi Moonbeam. Hi Birdie. What's happening, dudes? It's time once again to watch those vlogs about... Yeah, just double checking my mic's working. I had a weird feeling it wasn't. I don't know why. Once again, time to watch those vlogs about that show where the whole human race gets wiped out with hilarious consequences. It's true. Nice typo there. I'm definitely love. Aw. Nate corrected himself. Yep, kitty ears. That's just my thing now. Originally I was just doing it during Halloween, but I've got my Crystal Light. It's caffeinated. It's gonna taste awful because I just brushed my teeth. And this is citrus flavored. Oh, yep, it's pretty bad. Oh, hi, Artie. Okay, so I do look really dark. Okay. Does seem a little darker than usual. Okay, let me fiddle with this. Let's see. Do. Is that it? No, that's not how you do it. Webcam. Configure video. Where is, oh, there it is. I went past it. See, if I turn up brightness, it just, like, washes me out. Let me have this over here so I can see. That looks awful to me, but oh, yep, I want white balance. Oh. Well, I hope that helped. I don't know. I kind of think it looks worse maybe, but I don't know what's going on with my lighting lately. Oh, it couldn't help. It couldn't hurt if I turned this light around. Oh, there we go. I think that helps. There we go. Okay. Tina's in alpha mode. Aw, your love too, Special Iron. Oops, hang on, I'm looking at the wrong. I'm sorry. I'm still Trying to get these settings right. Okay, I think that's better. Your Crystal Light just needs rum. Hey, I've put rum in it before. It's actually really good. Actually, we have rum, come to think of it. Oh, you know what I had during the holidays? I had like, I had pomegranate Crystal Light and I put rum in it and it was really good. I think I had a little cinnamon too. They don't have cranberry flavored Crystal Light, which is weird. I wanted that during the holidays. But the pomegranate worked pretty well. I think I read that it was a winter fruit, so. We can see a strange blue dot on your forehead from a light source. Yeah, I know, that's my blue light. It shows, it's not supposed to show quite that much. I'm gonna turn my colored lights off though. And go to the light. Go into the light, Carol Ann. I look less like I'm ready to strike from the shadows. That's good. Oh, hi, Noah. Oh, stubbed your toe. That's no fun. DNF is becoming a Navi. I wish I looked as cool as them. Okay, let me... Okay, I guess I'm just ready to start here, so it's gonna have to reload at some point because it's been paused for a full week. Yep, there it goes. There we go. Oh, it actually started over. We'll watch the theme once. This is literally just all my favorite... I probably mentioned this earlier. This is literally just all my favorite moments from the series, or at least the first 10 seasons. And, was it 10? Maybe... No, yeah, season 10 would have been out. And I tried to just pick clips from just all across the series and not focus on any one season, and it's just all my favorite moments. I also intentionally tried to pick clips that were not in any openings. So... also, a lot of these clips have Cat, which I didn't really intend, but I tried to keep it even across all 4 characters, but that probably didn't happen. Ace riding on a crocodile. Tastes a little less bad. It'll go away at some point.
More Scudder shenanigans. This time one of them went nuts and rewired everything on the ship, meaning that no one can touch anything until it's fixed because they don't know what the auto-destruct system is wired to. Cue Lister using one of the vending machines and accidentally activating it, because of course he does.
That's a very dumb thing you just did.
The only person who can
That's such a
override
good
the
line. That's a
auto-destruct
very
is
dumb
the
thing you
captain,
just did.
Dead.
or one of the senior officers.
Dead.
I suppose in many ways I should have updated the system, really.
Long story short, Crichton comes up with the idea of taking the saved data
I
on
already
one
need
of
to
the
put my
senior
hair up.
officers that would have been used to create a hologram and putting it in Lister's brain. Meanwhile, Lister's mind will be saved on a mini cassette. I guess that says something about how little space is needed for it.
Crichton, what's that for? It's a mental emetic. What?
Don't they put Lister's memories on a USB drive in a later season? I'm like, oh, he upgraded. Sorry, my hands are busy. There we go.
A mind enema.
Mind
Wash
enema.
out your brain.
Lister starts to get cold
A
feet with
mind
30
enema.
seconds to spare, but Rimmer actually makes a good point.
Absolute bottom line is that you'll have to spend the rest of your life as a mindless gibbering vegetable. Because the rest of your life's only going to be 30 seconds. What the hell?
Seriously, he's not wrong.
Keep that safe. It's Lister's brain.
Yeah, give it to Cat. Nothing bad could happen there.
Something's wrong. Something's different. Wait a minute, I never used to be a man.
So despite the poor executive officer being really confused, it doesn't work at all.
Verification rejected. Abort denied. Initiate self-destruct.
That's okay because
So where's the bomb?
That's
yeah,
a
I've got a bomb.
great punchline there.
I got rid of it ages ago.
Why didn't you say?
You never asked.
later
never
that
asked.
night, Rimmer starts criticizing Lister's diet and lack of exercise.
Have you ever in dissection class held up a frog by its head? You know the way its belly sort of sticks out above its spindly little legs? Well, that's the picture I see when you get down from the bunk in the morning.
Which leads to Rimmer's idea that they switch bodies with the promise that he'll work out and help Lister get in shape.
It'll be like a 12,000-mile service for your body.
Of course, Lister doesn't agree at first.
How can I treat it any worse than you do?
Oh, I'm sure you'll find a way. So Lister eventually agrees and the switch is made and hilarity ensues.
No welching.
Of course not.
So naturally, the first thing Rimmer does is bathe. Incoming TMI in 3, 2...
Smacking stupid. I look like Captain Emerald.
Meanwhile, the first thing Lister does is change his clothes.
Brutal.
Now Rimmer really looks like Chris Lowe. Or Rimmer's body does. Back to
I read my
actual
own mind
Rimmer.
there.
He
I was
chops
literally
off
just thinking
Lister's
that, and then I
dress
said it in the
and
video.
Goes on a hedonistic binge.
Wow.
I think I went temporarily insane. It was just too much.
But he promises Lister he'll do better the next day. Also, apparently no one told Kat what was going on.
Why do I look like that smeghead Rimmer for? Because
I suspect Rimmer's always wanted to do that. So later on, Lister makes Rimmer get on the scale.
You put on 2 stone?
For my fellow Americans, that's 28 pounds. No wonder he's freaking out. Also,
So
it turns
stone
out
is
he's
12
wearing a
pounds,
girdle.
okay.
this is a hernia prevention belt.
At this point, Lister wants his body back because Rimmer isn't keeping up his end of the deal. But Rimmer convinces Lister to give him one more chance.
I promise.
Take that girdle off. Doesn't suit me.
But by that night, Rimmer has already blown it, so Lister demands they go back. Rimmer had completely wrecked Lister's body. Not only has he gained weight, but Rimmer smoked so many cigars that Lister's lungs are hurting.
Me lungs feel like they've been through a cheese grater.
I refuse to take the rap for that body. All right, I added a few pounds to its already ample frame, but it was, let's face it, a wreck before I got anywhere near it.
Yeah, you were supposed to make it better, Rimmer. That was the whole point. You could maybe make that argument if you just didn't improve it, but there's no excuse for having made it worse. Then again, this is Rimmer talking. Nothing is ever his fault.
Hashtag
So of course,
relatable.
Lister vows to never let Rimmer have his body again.
Get some sleep. You'll feel different in the morning.
Yeah, I think we all know where this is going. And here's another example of how Crichton has broken his programming enough to know that what Rimmer's making him do is wrong. But he hasn't broken it enough to be able to refuse.
If I'm in charge, Crichton, I'll take full responsibility. But sir... Science lab pronto. He comes around again, give him another whack.
Poor Crichton. The next morning, of course, Lister wakes up to find that he's in Rimmer's body again, and Rimmer has left him a message saying that he's left in Starbug and will be gone for a month.
But don't try and follow me. Otherwise, the body gets it.
So Lister gets Kat to fly White Midget so they can go after him. Except that looks like Blue Midget to me. I didn't bother to notice before, but has it always been Blue Midget and they just randomly refer to it as the wrong color sometimes? Anyway, Rimmer is living it up on
Yeah, apparently an earlier script, they were planning on having a white midget, and it didn't happen in the show, but they never changed the script.
Starbug.
Hadn't picked up on that yet.
I told you not to follow me!
I have to say, the spaceship footage looks pretty cool in this scene. In any case, Lister decides to let Rimmer go because he's too afraid of his body getting damaged. But then Rimmer crashes Starbug.
Oh, Smeg. What the smecking done?
You're gonna go absolutely spare.
And Rimmer appears to have lost Lister's arm.
I've lost your watch too.
It's funny.
No, but this is...
I love how Crichton and Kat laugh. It's like, we hate Rimmer, but we have to give him that one.
Captain Chloroform.
Please, Mr. David, sir. My guilt chip is already in overdrive.
Seriously, it sucks to be Crichton. It also sucks to be Lister because now he's on a really strict diet.
I was asleep, okay?
Meanwhile, Rimmer has now switched bodies.
I forgot about this twist.
Crunch on my face, I'll go to lights.
First thing tomorrow. Maybe Thursday.
And so ends Body Swap. This episode is a lot of fun, and it's one of those that can basically be boiled down to look what a massive asshole Rimmer is. However much you may pity Rimmer, you really cannot give that guy an inch. He will screw you out of as many miles as he can.
Yep.
And it's interesting seeing just how far he'll go with that. Anyway, in some ways this is a somewhat typical body switch episode that's been done in a lot of other
Yeah,
shows.
those are the two ones I think of off the top of my head usually.
Have each character keep their own voice, which doesn't technically make sense. Lister's body would still have Lister's vocal cords, but it's kind of fun hearing Rimmer's voice come out of Lister and vice versa. Unfortunately, the actors have very different sounding accents, making it difficult since their mouths move very differently when they talk. There is a scene that they ended up filming, but it went unused, so they didn't bother dubbing the voices. You can hear the actors trying to do each other's accents.
Is that eggnog? It's alcoholic custard. Have you any idea how fattening that stuff is? It's about 1 jillion calories a sip.
Clearly, Chris Berry does a nearly flawless impression of Lister.
I'm temporarily insane. It was just too much. I haven't tasted food in 3 million in 2 years.
Where Craig Charles doesn't do that great of a job impersonating Rimmer because he's not an experienced impressionist like Chris Berry. I mean, he doesn't do a bad job, just not as good as Chris Berry. So this results in the quality of the lip sync afterwards being kind of varied. But it's a fun episode anyway. Next up is Time Slides.
Fucking gravy.
Yeah.
I forgot about that somehow.
There are 3 realistic alternatives. 1. Sit here and get blown up. 2. Stand here and get blown up. 3. Jump up and down, shout at me for not being able to think of anything, then get blown up.
Time slides. Almost got the Navi ears on top of your head at least. When I think of your opening, I always automatically think of Lister pointing to the multi-Lister poster. That was one of my favorite moments, just the way he's copying the pose there. Presumably, presumably he's doing it, like, not realizing he's doing it, but maybe it is intentional, but either way, it looks so funny. According to the Promised Land, they're still using floppy disks. Oh, right, they're just in gigantic form. I forgot about that gag. Yeah, Holly is, or rather, Holly is in a giant disc. The food turning up in the dispenser was a great punchline, which I typed just as you said it. Getting my underwear build, buddy. I know you waited for the cat video, but I still love the Scrabble joke. Yeah, same. No wonder stones is used for weight, pounds is used for money over there. That reminds me, when I was it didn't occur to me that I had been watching an American edit of the full Monty until one day I watched the British version. There's a scene where Gerald is saying, like, talking about someone losing weight, and he says she lost pounds, and that should have tipped me off, but it never occurred to me until I watched the British edit, and he says she lost stone, which, yeah, obviously. I'm surprised I never caught that. Rimmer's no fitness guru. I mean, he can be. We've seen him do lots of exercises. He just didn't want to once he was in Lister's body. Gastronomic terrorism. I did see the concept drawing for White Midget in a book years ago. It looked quite cool, but Starbug was a cooler design. It was originally going to be called Green Midget. Oh, that's interesting. I love how Lister looks like he's breaking the fourth wall when he says it's Captain Chloroform. Hi, Adam. I'm late to the game, but hello. I missed the last 2 watch parties, but hey, third time's the charm. There you go. Hi, Jackie. I watched the new Puss in Boots movie. You'd love it. Yeah, you know, I didn't have any interest in that, but it's getting surprisingly good reviews from everybody, so... Sorry, I gotta fix my nail while I'm doing this. Got some new art coming? Cool, Reba. Sonic Boom had a great take on it, letting the characters keep their voices. Body swap is one of the reasons why I love female Holly. Yeah, she's good in that one. Oh yeah, Super Chat is disabled. Basically, like, if anyone wants to donate money, you don't have to. I'm not, like, in dire need of it, but I could kind of use it, like, sooner rather than later. The thing about Super Chats is I don't get them until, like, 2/3 into the following month, so... Yeah, sometimes when I need the donations a little bit more, I turn off Super Chats so I can get them sooner. Remember, there was that joke in Back to Earth about how we went back to videotapes as they were less easy to use. Yeah. Easy to lose, rather. But yeah, that was a good gag. Hi, Daryl. Had the pleasure of meeting Norman Lovett, Chris Berry, and Robert Llewellyn, and they were all so likable and down to earth, especially Robert. That's so cool. I'll probably never get to meet him unless they come to a convention over here. The way Rimmer eats reminds me of Gurr. Oh, yeah. God, wasn't there an episode where Gurr was, like, literally rolling around in a pizza? I remember his grease dripping off of his face. God, I haven't seen Invader Zim in a while. That might be the next thing we watch after we finish One Punch Man. Hi, Ray Venkman. I'm not sure what you're trying to say there. And remember how fit Rimmer looked in Terraform. Yeah, that's another good point. What about getting money on Twitch? I mean, that's the same thing, but it's even worse because, like, I think actually the Twitch is basically the same as YouTube. I don't know what I'm thinking. But yeah, it's basically the same as YouTube. I was going to say it's even worse, but that's not true. The threshold used to be higher than it was, but the threshold has come down. But unless you give me more than $50, I'm not going to get it until I, like, reach the $50 threshold. Yeah, everybody should watch this show. Everyone should at least try watching it, and maybe it's not for everybody, but... Alright, time slides. See if this is starting to taste a little better yet.
Yeah, it's that kind of episode. So, it's been a surprising amount of time since this has come up, but Lister is depressed about being possibly the last human alive, doesn't know what to do with his life, and is just kind of tired of everything.
If I want a job, I want to meet people, I want to meet girls, I want to make love.
Well, junior angler is the best you're going to get out of me, right?
Meanwhile, Crichton is developing some old pictures he found, because that's going to make a comeback in the future, apparently. While listening to a cassette tape, no less.
Wow.
When he notices something odd about the pictures.
Hi, Hershey.
Later, Rimmer tells the story of someone he used to know.
Fred Holden, he was in our dorm. God, he was thick. Thicky Holden, we used to call him.
Who became a millionaire and married a supermodel after inventing the tension sheet, which is really just a piece of bubble wrap. Afterwards, Crichton shows them the pictures he developed.
Just developed the film as normal, and for some reason they've come to life.
It's the developing fluid. It must have mutated.
That's Frank. It's my brother's wedding.
And yes, Frank is one of the brothers mentioned
fluid
in
can
Dwarf.
mutate, but why not?
Frank and Howard.
So Lister discovers that he's able to go back to whatever point in time when the picture was taken.
can touch me, you can touch me.
Squire Hobbit.
I can even touch me, this is brilliant.
But he can't leave the area that's shown in the picture unless he walks back out.
It's smacking. Incredible.
But he can take things out of the picture.
I love that shot.
So, I'm not sure how you can develop a picture from a magazine, but apparently that's what Crichton
Yeah,
did.
what?
Either way, Lister uses it to taunt Hitler. Because of course he does.
It's diary.
Allow me. Things to remember. Stop milk, pay papers, invade Czechoslovakia.
Staff Colonel Camp von Staffenberg.
He is the officer who tried to assassinate Hitler by putting a bomb in his briefcase.
And finds out that he can change history that way.
We could go to Dallas in November 1963. Stand on the grassy knoll and shout, duck.
No, but you do something kind of similar in season 7. So Lister decides to go into an old photograph of
He's still
himself
got that tension
and give
sheet.
himself the idea of the tension sheet so he can get rich
Oh,
off
right.
of it and not end up being stranded on Red Dwarf. Behold, Lister is a teenager, and his band, Smeg in the Heads. Classy, right?
Pub. Ah, yes. A meeting place where people attempt to achieve advanced states of mental incompetence by the repeated consumption of fermented vegetable drinks.
Pretty much, yeah.
Shady. This is totally shady. It's beyond shady. It's surreal. These your mates then?
Young Lister's kind of adorable if you can get past the awful, awful hair and clothes.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
You can't be a rock star.
Though being Lister, he's also kind of an idiot and firmly believes that he'll end up being a super rich, famous rock star.
Too old and too crypto-fascist. It's a piece of crypto-fascist bourgeois crap.
It's just so crypto-fascist.
I
Crypto-fascist.
should have done a crypto-fascist counter for this episode.
Made me sound like I was a complete git.
Oh, give up. The guy's an idiot.
It's pretty bad when even Kat thinks you're an idiot.
It'll take a few seconds for the timelines to sort themselves out, and then we'll see if it's worked.
And yet, surprisingly,
Ow, these
it
ears
worked
feel
because
weird.
Lister disappears, as does Captain Crichton.
Lister altered the timelines and lived an entirely different life. Consequently, he didn't join Red Dwarf, the cat race never existed, and we never rescued Crichton.
So why does Rimmer still exist as a hologram then? So Holly does some research
Yeah, that's a
and
good
digs
point.
up info about Lister having invented the tension sheet. Oh god, it's a Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous parody.
Now that's the kind of cash that opens anybody's legs.
At least there's no Robin Leach impression involved. Definitely got my fill of that in the 80s and 90s.
Oh yeah,
Rimmer is
God.
coming to his rescue.
It's my duty. My duty as a
And all those parodies have aged badly too, because nobody remembers who Robin Leach was anymore, probably.
complete and utter bastard.
Possibly one of my favorite Rimmer quotes there.
You're looking bad, baby. Indeed. You're my main man. Woo!
Wow, Rich Lister is pretty insufferable. Thank God this is an alternate version.
The contractors still haven't devised a way of making it urinate champagne into the courtyard.
Yeah, right, Lister. You wish you had abs like that.
It's me, Rimmer. Rimsy, Arnie Rimmer.
So I guess Rimmer's plan was to confront Lister and somehow make him remember a bunch of stuff that never happened in his timeline.
We were shipmates
Ruby
Red
wax?
Dwarf.
Way to go.
Of course you don't remember. It hasn't happened.
I don't know what you guys are talking
Duh.
about.
Who is the rich man? You, with your 58 houses, your private island in the Bahamas, or me, with what I've got? It's you, isn't it?
Should have thought a bit harder about that speech, really.
You should have thought a bit harder about your whole plan. So, new plan that makes a whole lot more sense, mostly. By the way, Scudder. Rimmer is going back in time to when he was at camp to tell himself about the tension sheet so he could
Scudder
become
spotting.
rich before Lister and set everything almost right. Not sure what he was doing with a picture of a bunch of boys asleep in beds, not to mention who took that picture, but oh well.
Right.
Rule of funny, I guess. This is one of those episodes where if you think about it even a little, it falls apart. His nickname was Bonehead. I think there was a reference to that in Crichton.
Or what about the nickname I had at school?
What, bonehead?
Not sure what's up with the boxing gloves, but anyway, Rimmer tells himself the idea about the tension sheet.
They're little sheets of paper with lots of air bubbles in them.
Like getting packing pen.
I think the thing about the boxing gloves, if I remember correctly, I think I've been told that, I guess, I don't know, was this a real thing, or is this, the idea was that parents would make their kids wear boxing gloves to bed so they wouldn't masturbate? I think that's what I heard, but I don't know if that's true or not. That seems like a weird thing to do, but I mean, maybe.
Paper.
Look, do you mind, Holden? This is a private conversation.
But the kid in the next bed hears the entire thing. And he is the one Rimmer was talking about earlier who originally invented the tension sheet, so another plan that I can't believe Rimmer thought was going to work.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, if I were a rich man. Dubba, 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 dubba.
Yeah, so Lister, Crichton, and Cat return,
Just-
and
yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and point out a detail that leads into an amusing gag. You'll notice that the H on Rimmer's forehead is gone.
Any moment.
So of course it turns out that Rimmer inadvertently set everything right again.
Why does nothing ever go right for me?
But there was one change.
Don't ask me why, but somehow you're no longer a hologram.
I'm alive!
You'd think he would have noticed that sooner.
Brighton, unpack Rachel and get out the puncture repair kit.
And that's the second reference to Rimmer's blow-up doll.
Inflatable Ingrid, your polythene pal.
Different name though. Could be that Lister was just calling him by a nickname before. But yeah, you can guess how long this is gonna last.
I am alive!
And now the status quo has been completely restored.
What was he saying?
So ends Time Slides.
They're just like,
episode
whatevs.
is technically extremely flawed, but it's still a lot of fun, even if you kind of have to shut your brain off. Like I joked about earlier, with a lot of these photos, it just doesn't make sense to have them on hand, and I don't know how you can develop a picture cut out of a magazine. But oh well. This episode heavily runs on rule of funny, and I think the ridiculousness of all this just adds to the comedy. I mean, hell, it all starts off with developing fluid mutating. Let's not pretend that realism was the goal here.
Yeah.
One thing that kind of does bother me, if I think about it, is Lister's actions. I get that he's depressed and maybe not making the best judgments at the moment, but how does he not even consider the fact that his not having ever gotten on Red Dwarf means that Cat and his race were wiped out of existence? Compare that to waiting for God. when
Yeah,
Lister
that is
learns
pretty
about the
messed up.
origins of the
I
cat
forgot
people
about
and
that.
what all that entails, and it weighs so heavily on him. After all the hardships suffered by the cat people, I could maybe believe that he thinks it'd be better if he never brought Frankenstein on board in the first place, but it's never touched on. What's possibly even more horrifying is that Crichton is still stuck on the Nova 5, presumably still doing his Norman Bates routine. No one questions any of this. I can believe that Cat wouldn't think of it, but you'd think that Crichton would say something about it. At the end of the day, he wouldn't try to stop Lister, but you'd think that he'd at least say something about it. The only thing anyone says is Rimmer pointing
that
out
collar.
the immorality of Lister stealing the tension sheet idea, and that's probably only because he doesn't want to see Lister get rich off of it. So yeah, another episode that kind of forgets that Lister is supposed to be a good guy. But other than that, it's a good one. Next up is actually the last episode of Season 3, appropriately called The Last Day. See you then.
God, I hate that the fucking Channel Awesome logo is right before
and
the
he died
stinger.
tragically in a plane crash, aged 98. He was making love to his 14th wife and lost control of the plane.
Have you got any photographs?
Well, not of that, no.
Not of that. But am I scrolling too far? I think I scrolled too far. Shit. Oh, there it is. The golf scene is a great example of how the boys like to spend time when we're not watching soap and slalom. Yeah. Hitler is a guest character just like Marilyn Monroe. Where did Cat get the golf outfit? I assume he makes all of his outfits. Series 3 through 6 definitely has some of the best jokes. Yeah, that sounds about right. I read the book first, so I was very confused because Crichton looks more like Holly is described in the book. Huh. Crichton Death Party. Yeah, that's coming up. It sounds like you're talking about The Last Day. Lister trolling Hitler is easily one of the best characters highlights. Yeah, I believe it. When I first heard you say the cloth taffeta, I thought it was a cloth made out of taffy. No, just has a similar name. Sort of like satin, but it's stiff and it tends to reflect light in an interesting way depending on what kind it is. I'm surprised it's not raining again yet. It rained this morning and then it stopped. I was thinking it was going to rain all day. What about when they play guitar together? True, that's also really good. I don't know if... Hard to choose one out of those two, because... Hard to choose a favorite scene out of those two, because they're so different. Okay, Reba, thanks for stopping by. The Ohm song is a classic. It was until they ran it into the ground in season 12. Excuse me. A lot of OG Lister's musing about his own lonely existence would have made less sense if it was Terry Farrell's cat in the scene. I'm not sure why. Rimmer's death in this episode made me sad, but not as sad as season 8. Yeah. Fun fact, Craig Charles had Napalm Death on a music show meant for children. I don't know who Napalm Death is. And then people tried to use the term crypto-fascist completely seriously. I've never heard anyone say that, but it would definitely make me think of this scene and get a laugh out of me. Young Lister looks like Elton John's hype man. If Cat wore it, he would say it would be, in my best cat voice, it's both stylish and edible. I can eat it when I get bored of wearing it. Yeah! Rock hard abs. Ruby Wax played Blaze Falconer in the show where Rimmer saw Rimmer. She's Ed Bai's wife. Ah, okay. So you're talking about the lady who played Lister's wife. I didn't remember if I even left any clips of her in there. I can't remember who, but they had a cameo lined up with a man who was big in British television, but he passed away before filming it, so they had to replace the Robin Leach character with someone else. Oh, could be. I don't think cryptocurrency existed in the 80s. Or 90s, maybe? I guess it's probably at least the 90s. If I get a new dachshund, I will name him or her Scudder. That's awesome. Hi, Daryl. I can't remember if I said hi to you before. Good thing Rimmer wasn't caught, or else he'd be referred to as Officer RSO by his crew. I wondered about the boxing gloves as well, especially as Rimmer's room in Legion apparently had them as well. Yeah, I remember them turning up again. It probably was Legion. I think that's the idea, but not what modern Brits do. Okay. Oops. That boxing glove thing sounds like they'll just develop a kink. Yeah, possible. I remember about a year ago I had an idea of putting Rimmer's second death after a scene of Susan in the cat lady blowing out one of the candles. Oh, that's funny. I like that idea. Got to meet a Red Dwarf character, not the person who plays them, but the actual character. Who would it be? I'd be tempted to say Cat, but I don't know. Cat might be mean to me, so probably Lister. Or Crichton, I guess. Yeah, Crichton would be cool. Definitely not Rimmer. Rimmer's alive 2 seconds and messes it up. Look at that collar. You go hang gliding. Yeah, I was noticing his collar during the end there. Crichton was relatively happy on the Nova 5 as he was still delusional about the crew being alive. Yeah, but that's still pretty horrific. Being surrounded by dead people that you don't know are dead. Channel not so awesome, yup. How mad would Crichton have to be to swear like a sailor? I mean... Well, pretty mad, I guess. It's great hearing your reactions to the show again, both on the vlogs and in the present. Yeah, it's pretty fun, actually, because I haven't watched either of these videos or the episodes in a long time. Damn it, I got an itch in my back that I can't quite reach. Ugh. Yeah, Lister was depressed, but still. Channel awkward, I like that one. Sorry. Bumped the mic. Hi, St. Clinton. I don't remember if I saw you before. So all Rimmer has to do is go back to his past self and say, remember the H on the forehead and stasis? Napalm Death was that band that Lister was playing with in the Ohm song. Well, one of them was anyway. Oh, okay. Would Red Dwarf make a better puzzle game or a third-person shooter? I guess the latter? Napalm Death is a thrash grind metal band, one of the earliest to use the growling, screaming style vocals. Ah, okay. Oh, the lady who is hosting Lifestyles of the Disgustingly Rich and Famous. Oh, okay, yeah. That was Ed Bai's wife. I don't think I knew that. Just got the mental image of Cat in a marching band. Do your cats ever react to something you're watching? That's funny that you'd ask, because earlier I was watching Jackson Galaxy and Tara got up on the arm of my chair and like seemed to be looking at the monitor for a while. The maddest we've seen Crichton so far is when he literally blows his top and beyond a joke. Oh yeah, that's a good example. Over ketchup and lobster, no less. Yeah, I was trying to think. He seemed kind of angry in Polymorph, but I wasn't sure if that really counted. Frimmer's death was rendered in Halo 3. His body would ragdoll all over. There's a visual. If Red Dwarf ever gets a new season, please make an actual cat people origin episode and not a sorta kinda origin episode. Yeah. The RPG would be good. Excuse me. Fun fact, there was a Red Dwarf tabletop role-playing game. It wasn't that good. Yeah. Seems like at some point there was a tabletop role-playing game for just about everything. Danny John Jules was such a pro performer, and he lends so much to the show. Yeah, he does. Massey got mad, barked at Freddy when watching Elm Street 3. That's too funny. Oh, hey, Timmer. Oh, Reba's back. Just in time to watch The Last Day. Oops, Red Dwarf lends itself well to point-and-click adventure. Oh, yeah, it would, wouldn't it? The table to RPG game? Whatever. Oh, I think you mean... Oh, tabletop is what you meant.
Wrong with boxing. It's one of the great working class escapes is boxing. It's just a sport like any other. In fact, at its best, it's not a sport, it's an art form.
Female topless boxing? So which one are you rooting for, sir?
I'm just praying that it goes the distance.
So anyway, Crichton brings Lister breakfast, but he refuses because he's uncomfortable with the idea of having a servant.
Goodbye waffles, goodbye maple syrup, goodbye fresh cream, so long fresh strawberries. Bon appetit, Ben.
That did sound good, didn't it? Not that
It
good,
did.
though.
Yeah, not that good. Oh, God.
Greetings.
I love it when the show finds excuses to show Robert Llewellyn without makeup. In this case, it's the spokesman of the company who made Crichton,
He's slow, stupid, crudely designed, and quite amazingly ugly.
announcing that Crichton will be shut down and replaced with another mechanoid.
Excuse me.
But as it turns out, Crichton is surprisingly at peace with it.
The only truly terrible thing is that, as my adopted owner, you have to die with me. You what? Joke. Deadpan mode.
Here's another fact about how messed up his version of the future is. With AI being as advanced as it is, and robots basically becoming self-aware, humans have been keeping them in line by having them believe in an afterlife called Silicon Heaven. The idea is that if they serve their human masters faithfully, their reward is an eternity in paradise. Pretty messed up, huh?
There is no such thing as Silicon Heaven.
Then where do all the calculators go? Aren't you a pantheist?
Where do all the
Yeah, but I just
calculators
don't think it
go?
applies to kitchen utensils. I'm not a frying pantheist.
Frying
Fantastic little
pan.
play on words there.
For is it not written in the electronic Bible, the iron shall lie down with the lamp?
And there's another one.
Is Silicon Heaven the same place as human heaven?
Human heaven? Humans don't go to heaven. No. Someone just made that up to prevent you from all going nuts.
This episode is quite the little analogy for religion.
So you accept a lifetime of getting the short end of the stick because you think there's going to be some big reward at the end?
Not to the extent of waiting for God, but it's up there.
Maybe we can find the shut-off disc and turn it off somehow.
He's not a kit droid, Lister. He's not like that stupid thing Peterson bought on Callisto. We wouldn't know where to begin.
Speaking of religion, we learned something interesting about Rimmer's family's beliefs.
Seventh-day Advent hoppists.
Oh,
They
yeah,
believe
the
that every
Seventh-day
Sunday should be
Advent
spent hopping. They took the Bible literally. Unfortunately, their version had a misprint where it says faith, hop, and charity. And the greatest of these is hop.
That's a hell of a misprint. That's going to change in season 10. In fact, as cute as this is, I like the other one a lot better. So since there doesn't seem to be any way to stop what's going to happen to Crichton, Lister decides to throw Crichton
Yeah, the
a
other one is
going-away
better.
party. But Rimmer doesn't see the point.
He doesn't like doing anything.
Fun? Ah, yes, the employment of time in a profitless and non-practical way.
I also love it when they find excuses to have Rimmer do an impression of one of the other crew members.
And general employment of time in a profitless and non-practical way.
Hey, what is this? Build yourself Marilyn Monroe droid. Look at the box. And look at the face that comes with the kit.
Why the hell did they make it silver?
Where'd you get it from? Peterson bought it with Planet Eve on Callisto.
Yep, only 3 seasons in, we've already hit the 10 count. Peterson gets more recognition on this show than Kat does.
Trying to do so? I don't think so. He's a bit like Action Man in that department. Just plastic underpants and a trademark.
Well, that was a little more about Crichton than I needed to know, but I guess it's better than if it was the alternative. Sorry for the mental image.
Thank you, Bob.
I think that's the first time that Scudder has been called Bob, but it won't be the last.
Is there anybody here?
It's party time!
So they throw Crichton a big party, complete with food and drinks made specifically for a mechanoid.
It's rather pleasant. Would anybody else like some?
Oh no, it's lethal to humans. It's probably lethal to androids, to be honest, but I don't think it matters since tomorrow you're going to be...
I love how Rimmer's party hat looks like Napoleon's hat. I also love Holly's cute little tiara, even though that one is just kind of random.
It's a computer chip. It's the interface circuit.
Kat's making the same face I make whenever my husband talks about computer stuff. The other gifts he gets are interesting.
General George S. Patton once stopped off at an Italian field hospital and had his sinuses drained.
This is his sinal fluid? It's one of your earrings.
That's right.
It's the one you really hate. Oh, it's a little box that goes vzzz. It's me. It's Marilyn Monroe.
If you say so.
Wow, what the fuck?
So, that was a thing that happened.
It's those cute little flaws that keep a guy interested.
The fist bump.
Sometime later, they are really drunk and the embarrassing stories come out.
Drank a couple of bottles of cheap red plonk and then went on a guided tour of the Eiffel Tower. I was okay until I got to the top, but then I couldn't keep it in anymore. The story I got told was some pavement artist sold it to a Texan tourist. Told me it was a genuine Jackson Pollock.
My first French kiss.
Oh, God.
Oh, please don't, Rimmer.
14 years old. We went on holiday with my Uncle Frank and his 2 daughters. Anyway, middle of the night, I woke up with his tongue stuck down my throat. It was Uncle Frank. He got the wrong room. He thought I was my mum.
Yeah, that was all kinds of wrong. And now they're all...
What is it about uncles named Frank? They're always awful. They aren't always pervy, but...
depressed.
I never had a mum.
I never had a mum either.
Well, you can all have mine. Everyone else did.
And Lister
was a good
reveals for
one.
the first time that he doesn't know who his parents were.
Cardboard box underneath the pool table. Just abandoned in this pub.
Again, wait till season 7.
There's a very real possibility that your parents were brother and sister.
There are no cats
That's
out here.
funny coming from the guy who got French kissed by his uncle.
How many toes have you got?
10! Yeah, on both feet.
And that's funny coming from the guy whose entire race could be traced back to a single individual. Too bad Lister's too drunk to think of pointing out either of those things. He could have really had them.
You were right, Craig.
I think I feel a Jackson Pollock coming up.
So while they're all passed out, Crichton accidentally hits the play button in the rest of the video from earlier plays.
10 times stronger.
Why would anyone want a robot that could do that?
The ultimate machine.
So they all wake up with massive hangovers.
We're on a mining ship, 3 million years into deep space. Can someone explain to me where the smegger got this traffic going?
I don't really get the pylon joke. It must be a UK thing. It makes a comeback in season 10, though.
In a way.
Oh my God, people left so many great stories in the comments section about people getting drunk and doing things with pylons. Or traffic cones, as you guys call them. I think we probably call them that too, but
And
I'm
now
just
it
used to
gets
saying
surprisingly
pylon.
deep.
Last night, I quite clearly approached a state that could be approximated to enjoyment. Last night, for the first time in my life, I lived. One night. It's not enough. I want more.
You don't get the 10 times stronger joke? He unzipped his pants and then, like, broke a brick in half with his penis. That's what was happening there.
Crichton reveals that it's not just an issue of whether or not he shuts down. The droid that's coming to replace him will destroy him if he doesn't, along with any humans who stand in its way. But everyone comes together and decides to fight back.
You would gamble your safety for a mere android?
Here we go.
Is this the human value you call friendship?
Don't give me the Star Trek crap. It's too early in the morning.
That's the line of the show right there.
I was just gonna say that.
I love that this droid that's meant to be a glorified cleaning and cooking machine looks like something that would make RoboCop piss himself.
I am the replacement.
Yeah, they're a lot less brave now.
He's programmed not to harm humans.
Excuse me.
All right, Milado, the party's over.
Mulatto.
I've had just about as much of this as I'm going to take. But if you don't skedaddle pronto, you're going to see a side of me you won't...
Hard to see on the small
Rimmer,
TV,
there
that makes
isn't any
sense.
side of you that anyone does like. Too bad Rimmer isn't human. Neither is Cat. And apparently Lister doesn't count.
Doing a good job. It's not my fault if I love it. Hold on, boys. You can't all die at once.
Things are looking pretty bad.
He just pushed him aside with his finger.
Until Crichton causes him to have an existential crisis.
No such place as Silicon Heaven. Then where do all the calculators go?
Which causes him to shut down.
No such need to.
His brain couldn't handle the concept of there being no Silicon Heaven.
So how come yours can?
I knew I was lying. No Silicon Heaven? Preposterous. Well, where would all the calculators go?
So ends the
Where would
last
all the
day.
calculators go?
I love this episode. Like I said before, I
Yeah,
get a
it is
big
a good
kick out of
one.
the religion analogy. I love the Star Trek remark, and we get another really fun one-off character in Crichton's replacement. Also, this episode had some depth and weight to it, which was fairly absent in most of the other episodes of this season. Time Slides especially seems to be missing it. But honestly, my favorite thing about this episode is how everyone bands together and goes to bat for Crichton. Crichton really is kind of lovable, and despite how the other characters kick him around a bit, Rimmer especially, at the end of the day, they see it too. They love him as much as the audience. Sure, a lot of the fun of this series is seeing how mean these guys can be to each other, but it's kind of refreshing seeing their camaraderie come out. At the end of the day, they've got each other's backs, and that gives me the warm and fuzzies. I guess I don't have much else to say about this episode. It
Someone
kinda
built a
speaks for itself.
Terminator.
So I'll just put a cap on season 3. Once again, thanks for sticking with me so far. Next up is a fan favorite, Camille. See you then.
Channel awkward.
Personally, I don't much like the 2X4B. I think it's a jerky middle name. I once knew an android whose middle name was 2Q4B. Oh, poor sucker.
Poor sucker. Hey, wait, hang on. I'll pause it where, There we go. I actually have to go to the bathroom really bad. I'll be right back. I forgot to mute the mic, so sorry for any bathroom noises you may have heard, Artie. Okay. Oh my god, I'm way behind on chat. Bon appetit, Ben. The Secret of Smeghead Island. Lister is such a strange sort of pervert, but likable as well. Yeah. I wish I had a deadpan mode. It would be great for poker. To be fair, no more messed up than any current existing religion. Yeah. At the time I was making some of these videos, I was trying to keep my own opinions of religion to myself, but yeah. Somewhat. I remember trying and failing to find a gif of the frying pan theist for something a couple months back. Is it not said in the electronic Bible that the iron shall lay down with the lamp? That's such a great line. And frying pantheist is also good. Would heaven be the internet for robots? Good question, I guess. Lion shall lay down with the lamb, but the lamb will not get much sleep. TV Tropes claims that Lister and Rimmer are vitriolic best buds. That sounds about right. There's also the Sexy Bible. It had a misprint that said, "Thou shalt covet thy neighbor's wife." It's a real thing and caused a big controversy because they forgot the word not. That's funny. Lister is part human? Now, theoretically, a robot would be possible. Yeah, that's true. They are trying to make human-looking robots. They haven't done a very good job yet, but they're trying. They could probably already make a better-looking one than was on this show. I remember when you were starting your Abadox model, I commented saying that it took you 2 hours to do this foot. I can believe it. Well, silver is a good color, but not when you're trying to make someone look like Marilyn Monroe. The party scene is so awkward but hilarious, yeah. Oh. Oh, thank you, George. The meaning of life makes sense. I'm surprised the Dwarfers haven't gone crazy being in space forever. I mean, sometimes they do go a little bit crazy. Still a better Marilyn Monroe than recent adaptations, yeah. I wonder if Marilyn Bot is still roaming the corridors of Red Dwarf somewhere to this day. You know, she could be. Hi, John, if you're still around. Flashbacks to Hellraiser's Uncle Frank. Yep, and also the Uncle Frank in Home Alone. He wasn't pervy, but he was an asshole. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Special Iron says, "Uncle, look what you did, you little jerk," Frank from Home Alone. It's this episode that DNA that really give us a look at how Crichton has progressed. That's true. Funny how Lister ended up his own dad or something. Yup. What's funny is Rimmer ended up kissing his uncle as the comedic twist to a story that started like it was him bragging about making out with his cousin. Yeah, it's weird. He's basically bragging about how he ended up getting kissed by his uncle. What the fuck, Rimmer? Don't give me that Star Trek crap. It's too early in the morning. I love that line. I used that in the beginning of both of my Star Trek videos. I love the way Hudson thrusts after breaking the brick. Over here, pylons are what we call transmission towers that carry electricity cables between them. I feel like maybe we call them that too. It's kind of a vague term over here, I think. Rimmer and Hellraiser would not last a minute before the Cenobites bugger off when they realize what they're dealing with. Yeah. I hate to bring up Rick and Morty right now, but that reminds me of the episode of Rick and Morty where they made fun of Cenobites. I thought that was pretty funny. There's a Futurama episode where a dude wants a Monroe bot to make out with. I feel like some of Futurama might have been inspired by Red Dwarf, but I don't know that for a fact. It's just a guess. But they do have a couple little things in common. Like Fry being his own grandpa. I love how you use the Star Trek quote very effectively in your two TNG comparison vids. Yep. I have a worrying story about my Uncle Frank and a traffic cone. I'm gonna guess that's a joke. There's a robot in The Mandalorian that looks like that robot. That's funny. My favorite bit with Hudson is when he starts singing Goodbye, Goodbye. Yeah. I should have done a Milado count. I don't know that he says it quite enough times. Up the ziggurat, lickety-split. The actor who played Hudson was brilliant. Yeah, he was pretty cool. Hi, George. The new mechanoid sounds like the guy who did the voice of Shockmaster from that WCW botch. Oh, God, I forgot about that. Speaking of Star Trek crap, Crichton pulls a Kirk monologue and talks the computer to death. That's true, he does. That's pretty funny. Tickety-boo. Rimmer's actually pretty brave here. For a bit, yeah. Was the name an Aliens reference? Oh, you know what? It might have been. There's actually a lot of Aliens references in this show. Someone built a Terminator. I want to wear what all the calculators go t-shirt. I love how the final episode was a Crichton episode, which pretty much solidified Robert Llewellyn as Crichton. That's a good point. Yeah, that was the end of season 3, wasn't it? Channel redaction. Finished season 10 recently. How was it? I wonder if all human face Crichton units all went crazy. Hi, Mario Dude. I didn't notice your name before. I watch your reviews after I see the episodes now. Cool. God damn it, stupid chat updated. There we go. I love the idea of having references or jokes that only mechanoids would get. Poor sucker. Love the image of Lister and the Red Dwarf poster. That kind of visual gag always makes me smile. Yeah, same. Every time I hear the Red Dwarf theme song, I want mango juice. Who names their mechanoid 2Q4B? I think the line is Goldfish Shoals. At the moment, it really is cold outside. Yeah. It was surprisingly warm yesterday. It was like in the 60s. I was actually able to walk to the mailbox without getting wet. I dare you to do a whole vlog in the Crichton voice, Dina. Hell no. That would get old so fast. I'd probably have trouble keeping it up. Crichton really became his own character from here on out. Yeah, I did. Funny enough, I did have fun in the sun yesterday. It was one of those scorching summer days, so I drove to the beach town with the cooler temperatures. Oh, yeah, that's right. You're on the other side of the planet where it's warm right now. I'm busy cooking, not the time for bathroom noises. At least Artie hasn't mentioned daddy milkers in a while. You had to remind me of that. Oh, thanks for stopping by, Sticks. You're long gone, though. I just accidentally fell out of my chair and Massey was crying because he thought I died. Oh. There's always a place for daddy milkers. The electronic Bible was made by Panasonic. I like that. Robot shoes have souls. Oh, Crichton is part human. Okay. I forgot about that. That's really random. A Red Dwarf fighting game. You know what I always used to imagine is sort of like a kind of a third person, not a shooter per se, but just like maybe kind of more of an exploration game. You could like switch between characters to do different things. I used to have a hot uncle. God. Rimmer is so likable in spite of everything. He is. Speaking of Rick and Morty, that Justin Roiland, that scamp charged with domestic battery. I know, that's why I didn't want to bring it up, but I thought I couldn't resist mentioning that episode with the Cenobites. My younger sister used to hear Gimboid as Gimp Boy. Yeah, I remember someone else telling me that too. The Nostromo is my favorite Alien reference. That was an Alien reference, wasn't it? Yeah, I liked season 10 and 9. It was like such a breath of fresh air after most of season 7 and all of season 8. Yeah, I hear that. Oh, you like the cat analysis videos. Thank you. I'm glad people like that. I wasn't sure. I thought it was going to be the kind of thing that no one would like but me. The Red Dwarf outro theme always kind of sounded to me like Kachansky singing for some reason. Does it? Oh yeah, Crichton is really great in Inquisitor. The 2Q4B remark is funnier now that Near Automata exists with a character named 2B. Oh. For some bizarre reason, my final words are Enig. All right, Hershey, thanks for stopping by. Manic Mansion, but it's Red Dwarf with modern graphics. I'm not too familiar with Maniac Mansion, so I can't comment on that. Crichton being part human confuses me. Are all the androids cyborgs then? Yeah, I know, that's really weird. What was that? Oh, hi, Julie. I don't think I saw you before. What was that Justin Roiland thing? God damn it. I can't have one thing to enjoy without someone ruining it. I know. I know exactly what you mean. Oh, basically, he got arrested for domestic abuse. Oh, I love the cat videos. You went above and beyond with those with the outfit breakdowns. Thank you. I want to make similar videos about Luoxana Troy from Star Trek, but I don't know when or if I'll ever get around to it. But I would definitely like to just like go through all of her episodes and talk about, you know, just how her character doesn't really evolve per se, but just kind of talk about her and her outfits. And I don't know, I just love Luoxana Troy. I don't know why, but I just pictured Crichton as a Cenobite, and now I need this to be canon. You know who, funny, talking about Star Trek again, the Borg look a little bit like Cenobites to me. They're not quite as nasty looking, but it's kind of a similar idea. Big fan of Cab Calloway, Little Richard, and James Brown, so Cat is naturally going to be like my favorite character. Oh, that's cool. Early Lucasfilm games point-and-click adventure game where you can swap between characters. For some reason, I imagined something a little more modern-looking. I would almost like to have made it myself, but, you know, I have too much other shit. I have too much other projects in mind. Might have been fun to at least do the character models. Excuse me. I swear I've developed trust issues these past years considering how often I've been let down. I know. And I've been thinking lately about how, wow, I'm glad I never seriously got into Harry Potter, and then this thing about Justin Roiland comes out and I'm like, fuck. That's what I get for being not really smug. I don't know. I feel like I asked for it in a way. Season 5 is really great season, though. I really wanted Rimmer to live his best life on the holo ship. Oh, yeah. Every time I remember Luoxana Troy, I always think, gasp, such naughty thoughts, Captain. Yeah, that's a cute line. She was always doing that to Picard, and it's kind of mean, but, like, it's fun watching Picard squirm. Crichton only says his brain is partly organic. He might be more white mouse than human. Well, that's possible. He does say organic. He doesn't say human. But then again, the DNA thing turns him human, so I don't know. First Contact did feel like Hellraiser in space. Oh, wait. Luoxana's like every other character in Star Trek. If you want deep character moments and development, go to Deep Space Nine. Yeah, that's actually a good point. I don't know if that goes for everybody, but yeah, that's a good, yeah. She did get a lot, have a lot more depth in the Deep Space Nine episode she was in. I was too young for season 5 and Demons and Angels traumatized me. TNG, she's a punchline. DS9, she's a deep character with motivation and emotion and depth. Same with Worf. There was an episode of TNG where she met that guy who was gonna commit suicide because he had reached the age where his race does that, and she tried to stop him, and that gave her some depth. And there was also the episode where that revealed that she had a daughter who had died. I think when Deanna was really young. I don't think Deanna, it was before she was born. But, yeah, so, I mean, she does get a little bit of depth here and there. Sorry, bumped the mic again. But, yeah, definitely more in Deep Space Nine than in Next Generation. S7 Crichton or S911 jerk-ass Homer Simpson. The Harry Potter thing sucks for me because I grew up on the books and now I can't go to the theme park without feeling guilty. Yeah, that's a bummer. Who is Justin Roiland? He's one of the two creators of Rick and Morty, and he does the voices of both Rick and Morty and a bunch of other characters on there. There's androids, and then there's simulants, which also seem to vary from season to season. Yeah. The organic brain part thing makes me scratch my head given the backwards text scroll. Oh, yeah. Luoxana, Worf, Alexander, Thomas Riker. True. I'm probably wrong, but is Magel's original character in the pilot episode the same as Ramjan's character from the Star Trek? Oh, I never really watched the original series too much. I think I know what you mean, though. God, I don't remember. I know I've heard that before. The character that she played in the original series. Wasn't her name Chapel or something? I don't remember. You know, I'm only now realizing how much straight horror is in Red Dwarf, right? Oh, hi, Morgan. I didn't notice you before. I like the bit where they presented her valet with a bottle of wine and he necks it right there in front of them without comment. Yep, I just saw that episode the other day. I really liked Luoxana in that episode. That was the one that ends with, that was the one where like there were those fish people. And at the end, Luoxana just offhandedly says, oh, they're totally here to just like blow up everybody at the conference. That was great. The only thing I didn't like in that episode, this was the one where she was like seriously after Captain Picard because she was like reaching her midlife crisis, which apparently for a Betazoid is a big deal. And at one point, like, after she can't get Captain Picard, she decides she wants to marry Riker. And she just fucking says this right in front of Deanna. And I'm like, I was taking it a step too far. I have the same guilt thing about Harry Potter. My daughter is still a fan, but also has the guilt thing. Yeah, it's a bummer. Oh yeah, Joss Whedon too. God, everybody's a scumbag in the entertainment business. It's almost like you almost can't even get away from it. Justin's really method acting for Rick. I've never watched Rick and Morty. Sorry for the fans, though. Yeah, Rick and Morty's a really good show. Like it was better early on than it is now, but I still think it's pretty good. But yeah, I'm probably not going to be watching it for a while. I really love that show too. It's a bummer. Reality ruins everything. Yeah. Hi, Mashery. I don't think I saw you before. Do you plan on covering season 3 of Monsters? Eventually, yeah. I started doing those videos when I was trying to be a full-time YouTuber, and you know, I was putting out one of those per week just to be kind of filler videos in between film dens and stuff. And I can't do that anymore because I have a full-time job and I can only put out a video every few months or something. But I would like to at least, so I'm not going to start any new series like that, but I would like to finish Monsters and Alien Nation. I just don't know when. I can hear a siren. Dean's about to go into dark Sacramento. Excuse me again. Jeez. Yeah, I think I sort of heard the siren, but I tuned it out. I'm so used to hearing them. I heard a lot of sirens when the weather. Heard a lot of sirens when the weather was really bad a couple weeks ago. Different characters in the original plot. Majel played number 1, a bridge officer. Someone at the network hated her and demanded she be fired, so Gene secretly recast her as the blonde nurse Chapel. Oh, that... Okay, right. I haven't watched the original series in ages, but I do watch, like, videos about it, so, like, I know a little bit, but I keep forgetting. So, Sacramento. Oh, God, the fish people. Weren't they on coat hangers or something at the beginning? No, they were, like, they were sort of in like a deep sleep or something, but yeah, they were just kind of standing there. Oh, you like my cat ears? Thank you. Oh, hi, Madam Glitch. Sorry, sometimes I read through these comments and I don't always notice who's making the comments, and then I do a double take and I'm like, oh, I hadn't seen that person before. Like, I don't remember if I saw Noah before, so hi, Noah, if I didn't say that earlier. Love Luoxana Troy, yeah. Same. Hoping nobody would notice. And it did not work, but nobody cared anymore, so it was likely just sexism at having a woman that high rank, yeah. Prefer to consider the art apart from the artist. I mean, whatever, it's up to you. I don't agree with that, but everyone can make that choice for themselves. Like, I don't want to give money to somebody I know is a scumbag. Unfortunately, there are still people who will moan about women having high-profile roles, yeah. Oh, I forget what happened with Rooster Teeth. Something bad happened with them, right? I don't remember what, though. Oh, there's sirens again. Goddamn. Yeah, the wind isn't even really bad today. We were having really bad wind and rain recently, and I kept hearing sirens because, like, fucking trees were being blown over and power lines getting destroyed. It's been pretty crazy in Sacramento the last couple weeks with the weather. I like Ernest Hemingway's books, so I'm a little bit used to the concept of enjoying work. Oh, hi, Isaiah. Enjoying work by deeply flawed people. Yeah, but he's long dead. So, you know, it's not like he gets anything out of you, whether or not you read his books. I actually forgot about Luoxana being played by the computer. Yeah, especially funny when Luoxana talks to the computer. She's basically talking to herself. Craig Charles has some really good poetry, too, on YouTube, if no one else has heard from him. Well, I've heard he was a poet, or he wrote poetry or whatever. Oh, hi, Lynn Green. I recognize your avatar. I think you go by a different name usually, but I might be wrong. Majel was recast because the female test audience all said, "Who does she think she is?" Oh my god, I don't know if you're joking, but I can believe it. I can sometimes separate art from the artist, but not so often that I go out of my way to keep supporting them. For instance, if I bought something before I knew, I won't buy anything in the future. Yeah, I mean, that's sensible. Like, it just depends. I mean, like I said, I don't think it's a black and white thing, but like, I mean, personally, when I found out Roseanne was a racist and a Trump supporter, like, I just didn't even want to watch her show for a while. But, you know, eventually I just kind of got over it and decided to start watching again because it's all reruns and it's not like she gets anything out of me watching it. So at some point I just sort of got over it. But, like, you know, that's only because she's not getting any money from me watching it. By the way, The Conners is a pretty good show. Also. Too many things happen to Rooster Teeth. Okay, well, you don't have to go into them. I didn't think about it until you said it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember hearing something bad happening with Rooster Teeth, but I don't remember what. Wow, you really butchered the word town there, Special Iron. Rooster Teeth, Adam Logic, married man sent someone his peep, and they are supposedly terrible employers and slave drivers and gamer bro atmosphere. Okay, that sounds about right. I don't know if somebody... Hi, Adam. I don't know if somebody's already asked, but what did you think of Jurassic World Dominion, the most recent Jurassic World movie? You know, I didn't see that until fairly recently, and I guess I thought it was okay. It was a little strange that they spent so much time on the locusts, but I didn't hate it. It was fun. You can't really expect too much out of the Jurassic Park movies these days. But unless I am truly disgusted, I won't likely rid myself of my prior purchases. Yeah, there's no real point to doing that. I've seen on the news that you've been having bad weather over there lately. Yeah, it's so weird because, like, California is a fucking desert usually. And we didn't get any rain all year, and then we got like 2 weeks straight of it. It was bonkers. I think we're only going to get like a few more days of it at this point, and then it's going to taper off and stop. And then, you know, everything will catch on fire again, probably. I'd be interested in a Luoxana respective with all the different characters she's played. Well, I'd mainly just focus on Luoxana, but I don't know, maybe I'd dig a little bit. Hi, Mashery. I remember you mentioning that Stephen King is your favorite author, so which book you've read that you think is underrated and deserves a read? I'm currently reading Cujo and Firestarter. Those are both really good. Underrated. I don't remember. Most of his books I've read that I like have been made into movies and are fairly well known, so I don't know if I know of any that are underrated. Dark Tower series was really good. It took kind of a weird turn at the end. But yeah, I can't think of any that are underrated. Mainly due to one of my ex's close friends being trans. Oh, yeah. Any way to enjoy the stuff I loved without feeling guilt? I don't know. I think that's just a really personal thing. Like I said, with Roseanne, I was just like so fucking done with her for a while. I just didn't even want to watch, you know, reruns of her show were playing, and I just didn't want to watch them, even though I used to be a big fan. And then after a certain point, I just went, okay, I guess I'm ready to watch this again. I just separate the character from the actor. I don't judge people who can separate Rowling from her series. I do a little bit if they give her money. I don't think that's a good thing to do, but again, it's everyone's personal choice to make there at the end of the day. Wait until the creators are dead and or no longer earning money from it. Yeah. And yes, watching streaming TV shows, movies counts because they do get residuals. Well, I was just watching it on cable, not like on a streaming service, so. Straight from Gene in interviews, women in 1964 to 6 couldn't accept a woman in a position of authority. Wow. Gene then tried to have Uhura be under Spock in the chain of command. It's the keys on my laptop. They move around when I'm not looking. Oh, so you do go by that name. Okay, I recognized your avatar, but not your name right off the bat. So my mistake there. I love the Jurassic World movies. They're like Godzilla movies. They kind of are. Like, none of the movies live up to the original, but if I try to enjoy them on their own. Sorry, my brain doesn't want to work. I try to enjoy them on their own, merits or whatever. As good mindless entertainment. Good Lord, imagine if they tried to release Voyager in the 60s. Oh yeah, good point. Star Trek continues cast Marina Sirtis as the voice of the computer. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually. Dark Tower books were great, but the movie was a profoundly disappointing experience. Yeah, I never did watch the movie. I heard only bad things about it. Dark Tower loved the books, the film not so much, but liked British Knuckles as Roland. Hi, sweet Waldo. Thank you. Have you read or listened to Backwards by Rob Grant or Last Human by Doug Nealer? I have not. The only one I've listened to is Infinity Welcomes Careful Drivers, and I started listening to Better Than Life, but I didn't get too far into that one because, I don't know, it just wasn't doing anything for me. And then I just never got around to listening to any more. I should have figured a PG-13 88-minute film would not be good for Dark Tower, but the level of bad was still disheartening. Waste of a great cast, too. Yeah. Dark Tower movie got you reading the first 2 books. Well, that's good that at least got you to read the books. They are probably way better than that movie, going by what I've heard. All right. Oh, yeah, we got Red Dwarf to watch, don't we? Jeez, that took me a while to get caught up there. Oh, right.
So Lister is teaching Crichton how to lie. But it's not working out.
Just can't lie. I'm programmed always to tell the truth.
Despite the fact that he lied in the previous episode, but maybe he just can't lie to humans.
Look, an orange, a melon, a female aardvark.
Sir, how do you do that? An aardvark isn't even a fruit.
Anyway, the point of it is to help Crichton break his programming so he'll be more independent.
What's this?
No!
It almost seems painful.
It's a small off-duty Czechoslovakian traffic warden.
Success!
Crichton, you can do it!
No, I can't.
Yes, you... Oh.
Smart ass. Apparently he can't do it in front of other people, though.
What's this?
It's an orange.
What's this?
I understand that it can be noble to lie. I just can't do it.
Meanwhile, Crichton is 20 minutes late for something that he was supposed to do with Rimmer.
Oh, spin my nipple nuts and send me to Alaska.
And Lister convinces him to test himself by calling Rimmer everyone's favorite nickname.
Crichton's always talking about his nipple nuts.
He's a smig.
Now he just has to say it to his face.
Glad you could make it this millennium.
This scene is just littered with Rimmer making snarky remarks and Crichton making funny faces and noises as he tries to call him out on it.
Is there any possibility we can go just a little bit faster? I mean, so we're not being overtaken by stationary objects?
Sir, you're a smig.
Meanwhile, Rimmer has no idea what Crichton's trying to say. It's awesome. They pick up a distress beacon coming from a planet that's about to explode in 2 hours. Crichton thinks they should check it out in case someone needs to be rescued, but Rimmer thinks it's too dangerous. But in a surprising show of independence, Crichton insists on doing it anyway.
Crichton, you are committing an act of mutiny. I could have you dismantled for this.
Smig. Oh, damn my programming.
He's got mad droid disease. Get waving a banana in front of me and calling it a female aardvark.
So Crichton goes down to the planet alone, falls, and is rescued by what appears to be a female droid named Camille, who he is immediately taken with.
Are you a 4000 series?
Yes, I mean...
I don't remember if I mentioned this in the... Oops, sorry. I don't remember if I mentioned this in the recap, but if I remember correctly, like, all of the love interests were played by the girlfriends of the actors in this episode.
4000
That's kind of neat.
GTI.
GTI? Oh, wow. I'm just a plain old 4000 series.
And apparently the feeling is mutual.
Stair mode cancel. It's just you have really amazing eyes.
If you like, I could pop them out and you could borrow them. Heck, what a jerky thing to say.
Resulting in some...
But has anyone ever told you that the configuration and juxtaposition of your features is extraordinarily
Yeah, that is a cute
really
fact.
odd flirting.
Oh, what is that fragrance? It smells divine.
So Danny John Jules was dating himself.
Z0012 using hex rather than binary and converting to a basic ASC2 code. Camille, I think I E5A908B7U.
But when it's revealed that Crichton isn't traveling alone, she freaks out and says that she can't meet his shipmates. But she doesn't say why.
But you don't know them. You'll like them. Well, some of them. Well, one of them. Maybe.
Crichton convinces her to come back with him, but when Rimmer shows up, suddenly she's a cute female hologram.
Howdy.
She is really cute.
Or that's how Rimmer sees her. Speaking of odd flirting.
Well, my first name's Arnold, but the guys just generally call me Duke.
Duke?
Yes, well, they don't call me Duke absolutely all the time, so don't call me Duke in front of anyone, because they might have forgotten. You know that they call me Duke.
So Crichton and Rimmer start talking about Camille, and notice that she's in the background and she's either the mechanoid or the hologram, depending on which guy is talking about or looking at her. Kind of a neat detail.
Oh, sure, her nose is a little loose, but to me that's just cute.
Cue an awkward conversation with her clearly talking about two different people.
Camille looks like your sister-in-law? What happened? Was she involved in some kind of horrific car accident?
No, of course not. She was a model.
And she looked like Camille?
So she's been taken to the medical bay, and once Lister walks in, she's suddenly a third woman.
Visitor, Camille.
Hi.
Dave Lister, ship surgeon.
You're a surgeon.
Well, I'm not fully qualified, but I've seen every episode of Saint Elsewhere.
Something tells me you're not really a doctor.
What gave it away? The fact that I've gone fully 10 seconds without patronising you?
Now Lister knows how to flirt, assuming he's intentionally trying to make her laugh.
We've got to be completely professional about this. Just lie back, relax, and I'll go and slip into my Spider-Man costume.
If so, it does seem to work. So then Rimmer comes in, and it becomes obvious pretty quickly that each of them is seeing and hearing something different.
And she's also a big fan of Reggie Wilson.
What, you like Hammond organ music?
It's mindless pap.
Absolutely amazing, eh?
I accidentally paused here earlier, so best face award goes to Rimmer. Anyway, Lister gets her to explain.
Well, you probably have worked it out eventually. I'm a pleasure gelf.
Gelf is a word we'll be hearing a lot for the rest of the series. It's an acronym for genetically engineered life form, and they come in many variations. In her case, she was genetically engineered to be a man's perfect mate, so she looks and sounds like whatever that particular guy wants to see or hear. There's no explanation as to how it works, but it seems like she isn't a shapeshifter so much as she's probably using brain waves to project image and sound over herself.
Are you telling me if I go into that room, I'll see my perfect mate?
Cue one of my favorite cat scenes.
Hi, buddy.
Yeah, I'll talk about this more when I get around.
Could
to
resist
it.
showing a little bit of it.
I guess I owe you all an apology.
But Camille is not heartless, and she feels bad for leading them on, even though she couldn't really help it, especially Crichton.
Why did you lie to me?
Because I felt something really special for you.
And in fact, she does love Crichton.
I knew if you saw me as I really was, you'd be repelled.
Well, try me.
Who didn't see something like that coming?
This is what I really look like.
Oh, but as huge green blobs go, I think you're really cute.
Wow, Crichton is the model of open-mindedness and being non-judgmental.
Yep. I think you're really sweet.
It's kind of adorable.
Camille, I'd be really grateful if you would join me for dinner tonight.
Speaking of which...
Look, if Crichton wants to take an amorphous green blob for a discreet tentacle, I say good luck to him.
That's oddly open-minded from someone who makes gay jokes about someone a few episodes later. But yeah, in general, they're all pretty supportive of Crichton and Camille. Even Kat in his own way.
They should go to a sushi bar. At least that way, the food won't look better than his date.
I'm getting just the tiniest little The Last Day vibe here. Warm and fuzzies all around. Notice that the restaurant they're at is called Parrots. That's setting up a pun later.
It's the old story. Droid meets droid. Droid becomes chameleon. Droid loses chameleon. Chameleon becomes blob. Droid gets blob back again. It's a classic tale.
Yeah, this show is weird. Anyway, from there they go dancing to a romantic
Dancing.
drive to a movie theater where they're watching Casablanca.
It's littered with examples of how lying can be noble.
Spoiler, remember how Me Squared referenced Citizen Kane? Yeah. So it turns out that there's another Gelf on board, like Camille, and it turns out that it's Camille's mate who is working on a way to cure them.
You have a husband?
We're androgynous, but I suppose you could call him my husband. Hector has a brilliant mind.
Mr. Lister, sir, would you be so kind as to take Camille's bag on board?
So Crichton convinces Camille to go with Hector.
If you're not on that craft when it leaves the hangar, you'll regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon, for the rest of your life.
What about us?
We'll always have parrots.
And there's that payoff.
We'll
Without
always
your
have
presence,
parrots.
without your bananas and your movies and your aardvarks, none of
Bananas.
this could have happened. You're a complete and total smeghead.
Crichton, this could be the start of a beautiful friendship.
It's a
And
nice
so
shot
ends
there.
Camille. This was a really fun episode. They handled the Camille character in a way that you might not expect. It would have been really easy to make her some sort of villain, but instead they went the sympathetic route where she can't really help what she is. And they all just kind of accept that even if it's difficult at first. Here's a fun fact. At one point they were going to have Lister's version of Camille played by the same actress who normally plays Kachansky, implying that she is his ideal woman. But they decided against it because it would have been distracting. Though they do still refer to her as Kachansky Camille in the credits. Yeah, it's definitely good that they changed that. It would have been weird having Kachansky sitting in front of Lister and him not recognizing her as such. Or if he did, it would have been weird explaining how she got there. I love this episode, but I can't really think of much else to say about it. It's mostly
Face he's
silly and
making.
has that fun Casablanca reference, and there's just enough weight to it to make it interesting. Next up is DNA. See you then.
I've never actually seen Casablanca. I should probably do something about that. Even if I've been spoiled on most of it. Channel awkward.
What's this?
It's a banana. It always has been a banana, it always will be a banana. It's a yellow fruit that you unzip and eat the white bits. It's a banana.
The yellow fruit that you unzip and eat the white bits. I love that description. I already forgot what was coming next. Ah, DNA, of course. I'm sure at one point I knew what all the episodes were in order, but I'm forgetting the order now. The Red Dwarf novels are an odd creature, really. Yeah, I've gathered that. I kind of like the second Jurassic Park film with the newer characters. For some reason, the second one just didn't do much for me, but I did kind of like the third. Red Dwarf and Better Than Life were Chris Berry, but he does such good impressions. Oh, yeah, you're talking about the books. Chris Berry, but he does such good impressions, I thought it was the cast audio drama. That's funny. Wine for cooking in one hand, wine for drinking in another. No wonder I can't spell anything with this autocorrect. I remember the Better Than Life novel had the bit about Lister and Kat talking about the Flintstones. The writing preceding the conversation was something strange started to happen to Lister. You could tell it was some years before Rule 34. You taught him that? That's terrific. Last Human is way better than Backwards. Yeah, I've heard good things about it. Excuse me. Good old Camille, second full episode I ever watched and got me to start watching the whole show at the tender age of 9. So many jokes went over my head. Yeah. Excuse me, jeez. Rimmer's Camille is very charming. Yes, she is. I love how Holly's hair has grown in this season, something that male Holly was incapable of. I showed this episode to a friend of mine many years ago. He burst out laughing at the cat scene. Yeah. Conversely, my daughter saw it coming but still laughed. Yeah, even if you see it coming, it's just so well done. What did she model? Spark plugs? Heartbreaker. One of the more unique aspects of Red Dwarf is that there are literally no alien races, only humans and their creations, intended and unintended, yeah. Yeah, there are no aliens, but they sure managed to have some alien-esque type creatures on there. Poor Caddy never gets to meet anyone. His female counterpart is a dog. His pleasure gelf is himself. Best he gets is the polymorph. That's true. It's a little sad if you think about it too much. Cat is most upset, even though he's the only one who knew what to expect in advance, right? That's kind of silly, but oh well. It's a cute line anyway. I remember the TNG episode where Wesley falls in love with that shape-shifting ambassador who turns into a pillar of light at the end. I really wanted her to turn into the Camille blob. Somebody has to make that edit. Some people really miss the fact that there's no aliens in Red Dwarf. I've mentioned that a few times in these videos, and I always get like one person or whatever commenting that, oh, what about the Gelfs? I'm like, do you not know what Gelf is an acronym for? They're not aliens. Wasn't there a similar episode in Enterprise except she was a slug? I never really watched Enterprise. Brilliant Casablanca parody. I saw what he did too. Casablanca is the best movie ever made and my favorite film. It's a fast-paced, hilarious snark fest that happens to have... I didn't know about that. I didn't realize it had a lot of comedy in it. I'll have to make it a point to watch it sometime. I'm not much of an old movie buff, but I'm not averse to watching an old movie either. I went back and watched a bunch of Hitchcock movies a few years ago, and I like Gone with the Wind, so I'm sure there are other old movies I would like. I just never get around to watching them. Steamed salmon in white wine served on smashed taters, shrooms, marinated roasted carrots, and white wine, cream shallots, and lemon sauce. That sounds pretty good. I'm not much of a fish eater, but I don't like mushrooms much, but other than that, that sounds good. Casablanca is a classic. It does something in movies I've never seen, and it's intriguing that I believe is also based on a stage production. I've watched Casablanca in years, but it sticks with you. Why is it Red Dwarf and not Red Halfling? Well, you see, a dwarf is a kind of star. Actually, in fact, a red dwarf is a star. I think, is the sun a red dwarf, or is the sun a different colored dwarf? I forget. It's the episode featuring Cat's hot wax strip unsightly hair remover. Oh, I forgot about that. I really wanted Riker to comment on how she looks like something that dropped out of the Sphinx's nose. It's referring to a type of star. Yeah, I'd said that before you did, but almost in the same way. I like how Ace calls it the small rouge one. For a show that can't even make up its mind on what century our main characters were born in, you have to hand it to the show in one aspect. That lack of aliens is one thing they've been consistent. Yeah, plenty of inconsistencies, but that is one thing they've always been consistent about. Some dwarves are stars, some are just peasants, some are just adventurers. Shut up, Artie. Yellow dwarf. Okay, I couldn't remember if that was a thing or not. Aight, here we go. DNA, this is a good one.
So the crew has encountered a UFO.
Aliens.
Yeah, don't get your hopes up, Rimmer.
Whoever or whatever made this thing had access to a technology far in advance of our own.
They split up so they can cover more ground.
I should
because
move this
that's
mic
always
over
a good
a little.
idea.
I'm not teaming up with them.
Except that Rimmer doesn't want to go with the cat.
You only look after number one, you're narcissistic and you're self-obsessed.
He just listed all my best features.
This bit gets reused in the Can't Smeg, Won't Smeg special a few years later, but with the roles reversed. I guess I'll have to cover that once I get to that point in the series.
And I did.
This is one of those scenes that's shot
Eventually.
like a horror movie. Anyway, Rimmer and Crichton found a member of the crew. Apparently it fell through Rimmer and scared the crap out of him. Literally, going by what Crichton says.
I believe he's just discovered what shirt tails are for.
Again, Rimmer's a hologram, so not sure how that works, but whatever. I guess they told us about this rather than showing us, because this is a low-budget show, and they probably couldn't show an object passing through Rimmer like that convincingly. Yeah, they kind of sort of pulled it off in season 1, but not very well, and the show has higher standards than it used to. So Lister and Kat go into a room with a console panel, which Kat immediately starts messing with. Earlier, he kept shorting out the power with his hairdryer. He is just a complete pain in the ass in this one.
He is.
I'm trapped. Get me out of this thing.
Okay, George, thanks for stopping by.
What the smeg is that?
Back to Crichton and Rimmer, we get to see the messed up looking dead crew member they talked about. It turns out that it was once human, but was mutated somehow.
Language trace completed.
Back to Lister and Kat.
Gene sample accepted and cloned.
Ooh, stupidity and arrogance is a bad combination. Lister wants Kat to stop and get Crichton, but Kat insists he can figure it out.
Relax, would you? I know what I'm doing.
That look on his face says otherwise.
Sequence complete.
And now Lister is a chicken.
Best guess? Some kind of DNA modifier.
Crichton compares DNA to a computer program and explains that this computer basically rewrites the program.
So this machine can transform any living thing into any other living thing by altering its molecular structure.
Precisely.
Try not to enjoy this so much,
Precisely.
Rimmer.
It's incredible, it really is him. Look, it's even got his little beer gun.
Crichton thinks he can change him back. Well, that's closer. At least he's a mammal now. So Crichton asks Kat what exactly happened, so Kat tries to show him.
Transmogrification sequence.
Oh, Kat.
The whole crew is going to be a menagerie at this rate.
The machine can only operate on organic life. I am mineral and therefore immune. Wait a minute. No, my brain is part organic.
So Crichton's technically a cyborg? Huh.
Engage panic circuits. Panic circuits engaged.
Anyway, Kat somehow presses the right combination to revert Lister human again.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I think so.
So he does the same with Crichton, and now...
My heavens. I'm human.
Yeah, that just happened. And once again we get to see Robert Llewellyn without makeup, only this time he's still Crichton.
Breakfast, my very first meal. Boiled chicken ovulations. Delicious.
Lister goes to see him, and Crichton has some interesting questions about how humans function.
My optical system doesn't appear to have a zoom function. How do you bring a small object into sharp focus?
Well, you just move your head closer to the object.
Now, then, my nipples don't work.
That sounds hilarious out of context. Even in context, it's pretty goofy.
When I was a mechanoid, the left nipple nut was used mainly to...
There was a YouTube clip of this where it started at that line. It's just like you hit play and my nipples don't work. It's just like, it's so funny when it's the first thing you hear.
Pick up shortwave radio transmission.
That's what I was thinking of when I said it's funny out of context.
No matter how hard I twiddle it, I can't seem to pick up Jazz FM.
Twiddle it.
Human nipples don't do that, right?
Try not to be distracted by the lady in the audience with a squeaky laugh.
Right, we eat and sleep.
Now you'll
That's
never
our way of
unhear it.
recharging.
And now Crichton has an especially delicate question.
Well, I want to talk to you about my penis.
That smirk is so convincing. First time I saw this, I thought Craig Charles was corpsing.
I knew it. You'd gone straight into smirk mode.
Speaking of natural reactions...
Well?
Apparently the prop department had Robert Llewellyn hand Craig Charles an actual dick pic and didn't tell him about it ahead of time. So that's why his reaction is so realistic.
I want to know, is that normal?
What, taking photographs of it and showing it to your mates?
But is it supposed to look like that?
Yeah, dicks are meant to be functional and not pretty. Crichton kind of found that out the hard way.
Are you seriously telling me there were choices and someone said, that's the shape we're looking for? The last chicken in the shop look.
And it's about to get even more awkward.
The last chicken in the shop look.
Now, why do you suppose that happened?
What were you thinking of at the time?
I was just idly flicking through an electrical appliance catalog. I came across the section on super deluxe vacuum cleaners, and suddenly my underpants elastic was catapulted across the medical bay.
So this brings up a dichotomy where Crichton is physically human, but still has the mind of a robot, and Lister thinks that's just unnatural and wrong. I think he's jumping to that conclusion a bit quickly, and maybe a simple adjustment period would have taken care of that. Or hell, he could have just been someone who looks human but has the attitude of something else, kind of
That
like
eyebrow
Kat.
wiggle.
There have certainly been weirder things on this show, but oh well. Also,
No vacuum cleaner should give a human being a double Polaroid.
yeah, this show just invented a new euphemism for erection.
How many mechanoids does it take to
Double
change a light
Polaroid.
bulb? I don't know. 12. And you know why? Why? Because they're so stupid.
To be fair though, Crichton is being kind of insufferable.
Greatest joke.
If he ever offers to show you his photo collection, my advice is decline. Politely.
I'm not saying that Lister doesn't have a good point though. Generally that you shouldn't try to be something that you're not.
You've got to stay true to what you are.
Meanwhile, Rimmer is trying to clone himself from some dandruff from an old brush so that he can have a physical body again. And he thinks Lister is
Oh
being
god, the
paranoid
jewels on Kat's
technophobe,
jacket, I hate them.
and that being human is the best thing that ever could have happened to Crichton.
What about the dude with 3 heads? What happened to him?
Well, he abused it.
Lister argues that being human isn't necessarily all that great.
Kachansky just finished with me and I was feeling really pony.
It went by so fast I almost missed it, but that's the point where they retconned Lister's relationship with Kachansky. Originally, he had barely had any interaction with her, and now it's that they fooled around for a bit, but it didn't work out.
So I saw this squirrel climbing up and down the tree
Squiddle.
collecting nuts. And it stopped and it looked at me. And I thought, you lucky little sod. You've got no woman trouble, so you'll never feel as bad as I feel now. And at that moment, for a split second, I would have given anything to swap places with him.
So, Lister, what are you telling us? You're a closet squirrel? Behind closed doors, you parade up and down with a strap-on bushy tail, calling yourself Nutkin?
Thanks for the visual.
Strap on, bushy tail. He had to say strap on.
This is the kind of debate where neither side is completely right or wrong. On one hand, you can't ignore the usefulness of advanced technology, but on the other, someone will always misuse it. The best place to be is somewhere in the middle. Meanwhile,
Nutkin.
apparently Crichton is wearing random cast-offs from Kat's closet.
It does look that way.
Seriously, most of these are articles of clothing I could see Kat wearing, just not together.
The most wonderful thing has happened. We found.
The tie and the shirt sort of go together. That shirt's really busy though, so I don't know. Anyway, sorry about the fashion
this
talk.
machine and it's made me human.
Anyway, he goes to his supply closet to talk to his spare heads.
Aren't you happy for me? I'm not a mechanoid. I'm not second class anymore.
They are not too happy with him.
You came into this world as a mechanoid, and a mechanoid you'll always be.
I don't have to take this from you. I'm a human. Shut your stupid flat head.
I bet he's always wanted to say that to someone else.
Don't believe you just said that. I think you should leave now, Crichton. There's nothing more to say. And what about you, spare hand one? How do you feel?
Figures. Afterwards, Crichton confesses to Lister that he's having trouble dealing with his emotions and he's not as happy as he feels like he should be.
I've done the most terrible thing. I've hurt my own kind. I've made fun of those closest to me. I've been a complete and total Polaroid head.
There it is again. I love this episode.
Polaroid head.
I did something similar once.
It turns out that Lister knows what he's talking about because he sold out once too.
Once, many years ago, I went into a wine bar.
That's it? You went into a wine bar?
Okay, keep it down, keep it down.
Well, what's so bad about going into a WB?
Warner Brothers?
Class traitor.
Oh, you Brits and your social classes.
God almighty, who knows where it could have ended? Next thing you know, I'm playing squash every Tuesday night with a bloke called Gerald.
So Crichton has decided he wants to be a mechanoid again, so they go back to the vessel. But to make sure they know what they're doing, they test it out on Lister's Vindaloo first. But because this is Red Dwarf, the results are horrific.
You've created the mutton Vindaloo beast. Half man, half extra Indian curry.
I love that there's Indian music playing in the background. Lister points out that this
That
isn't
is a
the
nice
first time
touch.
he's been attacked by Indian food.
That's right. You were attacked by a killer Shami kebab.
How come the same smeg happened to the same guy twice?
Because Red Dwarf.
Twice!
So Lister has an idea that involves going back to the DNA machine. Nice one, Lister. I think I somehow missed that on previous viewings.
Turn into a superhuman. Man plus.
Metamorphosis complete.
So Lister is now a tiny half Robocop. Can't help but notice that the bazookoid got smaller too.
I can't keep up, I'm knackered!
Because Lister didn't talk funny enough already. So Lister stumbles onto the creature's weakness.
Of course, lager. The only thing that can kill a Vindaloo.
I guess the joke is that beer goes with curry. Smile, you son of a...
Jaws reference on my part. Yeah, I think someone explained in the comments, like, it's common to like chase a curry with beer or something, and yeah.
Has anyone got a puppet on the size of Lake Michigan?
Ew.
This guy's pure class.
Sounds like something I would say. And so ends DNA. This is a great episode, probably one of my favorites. Though I am kind of surprised that they went in such an extreme direction with Crichton only one season after he became a regular on the show. Only season 4 and he's already been human. And so far there are 6 more seasons to go. Compare that to Data from Star Trek TNG, who didn't even fully develop emotions
Oh, look at
until
Data
after
with
the TV
Spot.
series ended. Hard
He
to
loves his
imagine that there'd be
kitty.
much left to go with Crichton's character after that, but they managed just fine. This is far from being the last Crichton episode. Speaking of which, it's always fun seeing Robert Llewellyn out of makeup. He's one of those actors whose face seems to be made out of rubber, like Jim Carrey. Even with the makeup on, Crichton is pretty expressive, but without it, it's even more so. The things this guy can do with his face is incredible. I've already talked about Lister's view of this situation and how that's basically the idea the story is trying to get across. If I had to complain about something, it's that maybe it could have been a bit more subtle about it, at least in the beginning. Like I said, Lister jumps to the conclusion that Crichton being human is unnatural and wrong almost immediately. It almost makes him come across as judgmental or something. I just feel that maybe he could have eased into that opinion a bit more slowly. Then again, the episode was half over by then, so maybe there just wasn't time for that. Hell, I know I'm nitpicking. For an episode that ends with a tiny half RoboCop Lister fighting a curry monster with beer, it's actually pretty deep and well thought out overall. Also, the more I think about it, the more I think this episode is probably an allegory for the aforementioned separation of social classes in Britain, and I will admit that some of that is probably lost on me. Next up is Justice. See you then.
What was it like being a hamster? It was better than being a chicken. When you seen the size of an egg, you seen the size of a chicken's bum. I was trying to say in chicken talk, for God's sake, give me an epidural.
Oh, Justice. We're probably going to end on this one. We'll see. Yeah, it's almost, it's like 3:35 already, so I'm guessing it'll... By the time I respond to the comments and then read this and then respond to the rest of the comments, it'll probably be pretty close to 4, I would think. God, I got way behind. There we go. A sun becomes a dwarf star usually in the end of its life after expending its energy as a red giant. If it doesn't become a neutron star or a black hole, is my understanding. Ah. DNA is a good one. That's an understatement in my opinion. Yeah, I forgot just how funny it was. Spareheads got reused for that US pilot? That's interesting. I think I already said goodbye to George. The US Red Dwarf should have been so good. It could have been. There's no reason why it couldn't have been funny, why it couldn't have worked. They just did a bad job on it, unfortunately. They had good people on there. It's always funny to me that Rimmer is so cowardly when he's literally immortal. He's already dead once and he's a hologram, so nothing can hurt him, but he's still yellow. That's a good point. I mean, it makes sense more when he's hard light, because then he can feel pain. He might not be worried about death, but he still would want to avoid pain. So it makes sense there, but yeah, at this point it really doesn't. Despite not knowing who Glenn Miller was, I always laughed at that bit where Rimmer calls the ship to yell, "We don't want him, go away, you took him, you can keep the Smegger." Yeah, same. I don't actually know who Glenn Miller is either, but it's still a good gag. Crichton actually wonders about that in the novels, about how a man who was already dead be such a tremendous physical coward. The whole crew would be a menagerie at this rate. Yeah, that was a pretty good one. Also, this is my headcanon for how Lister has 2 appendixes. Yeah. like to have headcanon, and for that, I just like to laugh at the inconsistency. I remember a lengthy conversation on the server about this scene a couple of years ago. It was a bit of a favorite. Oh yeah, I think I do remember something about that. Damn it, I have to go to the bathroom again. Sorry, I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. I forgot to mute the mic again, damn it. Okay, I'm back. Love the whole scene with Lister and the photos. His expressions are hilarious, and the double Polaroid bit always makes me laugh. Yeah, that is a great bit. No canned laughter for this show. Either always a real live audience, yep. Crichton's not wrong. Perry Como saying memories are made of this with one of those stashed in his slacks. Lister is a furry. Yeah, Spearhead 3 was great. Sorry, bumped the mic again. Whoops. Yeah, the screen with the fish in it is kind of neat. I can't keep up, I'm knackered. Beer does cool the system down somewhat after a curry. See, I would think that alcohol would just, you know... In fact, I think I remember telling somebody this in the comments section. I would have thought that alcohol would just, you know, make it worse. But I don't know. I don't tend to pair spicy food with alcohol, so I wouldn't know. Maybe it works better than I would think, but... A British booze binge reference. We love our curries over here. Yeah, I've learned that through watching Red Dwarf. Robert played the Prime Minister in a UK kids show called Am I High? It was a small but great role. That's cool. Didn't stop people trying to judge you for being American, as I recall. I don't remember what you're reacting to there. Oh yeah, the guy in Justice is a simulant, isn't he? First time I watched it, even I forgot the reason why they were there was because I got distracted by the plot. I believe the DNA pod clip was reused for BBC adverts for Doctor Who VHS. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I thought that Craig Bierko was very different from Craig Charles, but he still played a pretty likable Lister. Yeah, like I said, I thought all the actors did really well. And unfortunately, they didn't give the guy who played Cat very much to do, but he's really good. If you want to see him in a big role, he played. He was in that musical episode of Buffy. He played the dancing demon, and that character is actually like visually he kind of looks like Cat. Like he wears a zoot suit and he dances and stuff. So you really can easily imagine him playing Cat after watching that. Even when Crichton is human in the episode, he still has to act robotic, yeah. I sometimes watch Q Who and imagine Picard exclaiming aliens as he watches that first Borg cube approaching, even though it wouldn't make sense in the Star Trek universe. I love how Red Dwarf can be funny, dark, depressing, and weird and insane, even all the same time. Yeah, I love that about that show. Also, hi Say Films. I noticed you earlier, but I forgot to acknowledge it. I could have sworn I just heard Lee laughing in the background when Dina left just now. I don't think so. He's upstairs. You might have heard me yelling about forgetting to turn off the mic. This episode rightly absolves Rimmer of the responsibility of killing the whole ship. Yeah. Red Dwarf USA was doomed to failure because they tried to Americanize the wrong things. I don't know about that. Craig Bierko was miscast for that version of Lister. They didn't seem to get either Rimmer or Cat. I don't know if I agree with that. Well, Rimmer wasn't very good because they didn't give him enough to do. It's cool how Red Dwarf has retrofuturism aesthetic with 80s home computers being used. Sometimes they're fun to spot. Yeah, that's true. The Partridge Family is neither a partridge nor a family. Discuss. I'm glad somebody got that reference. If they'd rewritten Lister's character to better match Bierko and turned Rimmer into more of a can I speak to your manager type character, that's fair, I guess. Hi, Styx. You didn't miss very much. You missed DNA, and I forget what episode was before that. I agree that Red Dwarf USA was a failure, but to be fair, the opening music is pretty relaxing, even if it's not the same song. Yeah, it wasn't bad. Oh, thanks, Artie. I'll look at your, I will look at your... Yeah, that's why I don't normally put the coffee link down there, but, that's why I don't normally put that down there, but I know you requested that I have it at some point, so... I'm trying to look at, Artie just said money, and it was $10. Thank you. Where's the correct tab? There we go. Yeah, we love our curries. We just don't take it to the extreme that Lister does, where he only has 2 working taste buds left. Rimmer's criminal outfit is so cute. I don't remember it off the top of my head, so... Also, Crichton's laugh made me think of Herman Munster. Oh yeah, it is kind of like that, isn't it? Oh, I was referring to you saying the episode was an allegory for the British class system, and you admit that some of it went over your head. Some of it goes over mine as well, and I live here. That's funny. Hi, Claire. Got to get up early tomorrow for work, so we'll watch tomorrow. Hope you are well. Thank you. I hope you're well, too. Hope you enjoy the stream when you get around to watching it. Craig Bierko did a good job. Would have been a different kind of Lister, though, but I think it worked. Yeah, same. I like the scenes of Crichton making fun of Lister over his breakup with Kachansky, watching him when he was supposed to be shut down. Yeah, that was cute. It's rare to meet anyone in Britain anywhere as smeggy as Rimmer. All right, let's go. Geez, I barely have time to watch. Oh well, I'll go over. It's no big
I
deal.
can't believe how much these swelling's gone down overnight.
Sometimes the humor in this show is especially lowbrow.
Oh, there. What did I tell you? It's gone down 8 inches overnight.
Not that we'd have it any other way. I love the red cross on Crichton's monitor.
Almost missed that.
Yes, sir. Hot lager with croutons, just the way you asked.
So it turns out that Lister has had space mumps for the last 3 weeks and has only had Crichton for company, since Rimmer has been on vacation and Cat is Cat.
He's been a bit preoccupied of late, what with all this pod business.
Well, that and they discovered an escape pod, which may contain a woman who has been cryogenically frozen.
It's just great, isn't it? The first female company in 3 million years, and it looked like something that belongs up a whale's nose.
By the way, I love Lister's outfit in this episode. I think it subconsciously reminds me of the Dread Pirate Roberts, and somehow that works.
Maybe I could wear
I like the puffy sleeves and how it's all
Maybe you
black.
could stick a spike in your head and pretend you're the Taj Mahal.
So Cat shows up and
Then there's
activates
Cat's
the pod
outfit.
when they
Holy
notice
crap.
that no one else has done it. I'll talk more about this scene when I do those separate videos about the cat, but...
So she's just an ordinary person who doesn't go for your type. I'd have heard about her. She'd have appeared in Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Basically, they're already arguing over who is going to have a shot at the woman who is supposedly in the pod.
What you gonna do? Painted with yellow and black stripes and tell you play quarterback with the Bengals?
And Cat makes an American football reference. It seems like Europeans are always knocking American football because rugby is so much better. I don't watch either, so I don't really care, but it did kind of surprise me to hear a reference to American football that isn't knocking it in some way in a British show. Anyway, Cat's adorable. Let's move on. But Rimmer comes in and is as sensitive as always.
Listy, what are you doing up? Shouldn't you be in the greenhouse with the rest of the cantaloupes?
But then he finds out that Cat activated the pod, which he wasn't supposed to do. It turns out that while there may have been a woman in there, there's an equal chance that it could be a mass-murdering android.
They're not androids, they're simulants. The basic difference is that
there
an
we go.
android would never rip off a human's head and spit down his neck.
Or simulant, rather. And since this is Red Dwarf, I think we can predict which one it'll be. Apparently there's no way to stop the defrosting process, and no way to x-ray the pod to find out what's in it. Cat suggests arming themselves with bazookoids and facing it head-on in case it turns out to be a simulant.
Let it eat laser.
Simulants are virtually indestructible, sir.
Of course, Rimmer suggests ejecting it into space, even though it could still be an innocent woman. This is the same guy whose first reaction to Cat is that he wanted to chuck him out the airlock, so I can buy this. For once, Holly has the answer. The black box contained the coordinates for the penal colony that the pod was heading for, so the plan is to take it there.
If it turns out to be Bellini, we release her. If it's the simulant, we can bung him in a cell and leave him to rot.
So Cat and Lister are piloting Starbug, while poor Crichton has to sit through Rimmer's vacation slides.
Could we take a break for a while? It appears my intelligence circuits have melted.
Well, we're not going to get through them all, Crichton, if we take a second break.
Sir, that's a gamble I'm willing to take.
That's me at work.
God.
Oh.
His head burned.
I do love Cat, but he has been especially jerkish in this episode, so it is kind of refreshing having him get his comeuppance.
I don't want to live. God, please, shoot me in the head.
I love how in the following shot they're both totally immaculate like it never happened. That's a random bit of cartoon logic. I also like how the space station where they're going, Justice World, looks like the scales of justice.
That's
nice
cool.
touch. So obviously Justice World has extremely high security, so they have to wear what are called escort boots, so they can't get away if it turns out that they're guilty of something.
I can't wear these.
these. I'm a hologram.
That has been accounted for.
Nice cover. So, one by one, they're each led into a mind probe.
The computer was just searching our minds, presumably for any evidence of criminal activity, sir.
Now Lister is worried.
What do you mean, criminal activity?
Listy, is that a small sewage plant you're carrying in your trousers? Or do I detect you're a tad concerned?
So the computer has made its decision. Crichton is freed. Then Cat.
Hey, I hear they do good bread and water here, buddy.
Too bad smugness isn't a crime. And then, surprisingly, Lister. That just leaves Rimmer.
Guilty of second-degree murder. 1,000.
You just knew something was going to happen because he was looking so smug.
Your willful negligence in failing to reseal a drive plate resulted in the deaths of the entire crew of the Jupiter Mining Corporation vessel, the Red Dwarf.
Oh, that!
That reaction is comedy gold.
Oh, that.
So Rimmer has been sentenced to...
Lee and I always say that to each other. Oh, yeah, his prison, yeah, that is interesting.
For 9,000 years.
Brought you a book.
What's the markings on it?
Oh, thanks. That'll really help the centuries fly past.
But Crichton is working on putting together his appeal.
This isn't a bad place for a prison.
So it turns out that there's no need for locks or bars. Instead, it uses something called a justice field. That's going to be on the test later.
Just try and commit a crime, you'll see. Arson. Try and set fire to those sheets. Whatever crime you try and commit, the consequences happen to you.
Smack it! He could have just explained that to me verbally.
Oh, give the guy a break. He needs some kind of entertainment.
You see, it's the perfect system. It forces the inmates to adhere to the law. Once they get out, it's become second nature.
That's interesting. I have to wonder how well that would work in the real world. Sounds good. So Crichton tells Rimmer about the appeal he's put together.
What the mind probe detected was your own sense of guilt about the accident. In a way, you tried and convicted yourself.
That's our Rimmer.
I simply have to establish that you're a neurotic, underachieving emotional retard.
I love that Crichton said retard.
But how would you begin to build such a case? Where would you conjure
That's not something I would say now.
It's gonna be that hard, Rimmer.
In the case of Arnold...
I thought it was funny just because it feels out of character or not. Not that I, yeah.
This Rimmer...
Not that I would condone saying that word, is what I was trying to say.
And now Crichton presents his case.
He was a lowly grease monkey, a zero. Yet he could never come to terms with a lifetime of underachievement.
Rimmer basically has to choose between a 9,000-year prison sentence and to stand there and be insulted.
He's like the security guard on the front gate, who considers himself head of the corporation.
I have a feeling Crichton has been wanting to say some of this stuff for a long time, and it's so amazingly on the nose.
Crichton, you're going over the top. The court will never buy it.
Sir, trust me, my whole case hinges on proving you're a dork. Name?
Dave Lister.
Occupation?
Bum.
I think Lister literally took a bandana and tried to tie it around his neck like a necktie.
Would you describe the
Does look
accused
like
as
that.
a friend?
No, I'd describe the accused as a git.
Who would you say then is the person who thinks of him most fondly?
I do.
And are there no others who've shared moments of intimacy with him?
Only one, but she's got a puncture.
And there's another reference to Rachel.
A man of such awesome stupidity. Objection!
Objection overruled.
A man of such awesome stupidity, he even objects to his own defense counsel.
Rimmer is basically choosing the prison sentence at this point, and Crichton ends his defense with the sentence that probably sums up Rimmer better than any ever uttered on the show.
This man is not guilty of manslaughter. He is only guilty of being Arnold J. Rimmer. That is his crime. It is also his punishment.
Of course it works and Rimmer is set free.
Objection! Sir, what are you objecting to now?
I want an apology.
They go back to Starbug and...
I don't know what made us want to come to this hellhole in the first place.
Oh yeah, that pod issue.
Oh yeah.
And of course it turned out to be
that.
a simulant, so they run back through security into the Justice Zone.
I have no weapon.
Lister has a bazookoid, but the simulant unarms himself, and Lister can't bring himself to shoot him.
Of course in the back. It's only a pity he's awake.
I mean, you could happily kill him if he was asleep.
I could happily kill him if he was on the job.
You wouldn't shoot an unarmed droid. Come out and let's discuss it.
For this being a comedy and all, I think that simulant actually looks pretty cool. The actor plays him really creepy, too.
He's very menacing.
I lied.
So did I.
But I lied. Twice.
Didn't think of that. What do you want to talk about?
Your death.
And this is where the justice field comes into play. So it's definitely a good thing that Lister didn't try to shoot him in the back a little while ago with a bazookoid. He would be dead now if he did. Of course, Kat doesn't know about the justice field. So they go
Love
back
that.
home and Lister goes on a long rant about
I think that was his first fall over.
It's very neat just to be cruel, unkind, and unfair.
Thank God for that.
He might have broken his neck. And so ends Justice. This was a good episode. I'm probably sounding like a broken record at this point because, as I said, seasons 3 and 4 are where the series really starts to pick up for me, and there are very few episodes where I'd have much to complain about. This one had another peek into how fucked up Rimmer is without the episode having to be about that. However, Crichton's defense speech is definitely a highlight. Other than that, we have some gross-out humor that manages to be hilarious, and a fun little standout character in the murderous simulant. This episode isn't terribly deep, but it brings up some interesting ideas about how a futuristic justice system could work. Again, I'm not sure if it would work in reality or not, but I could definitely see something like it being attempted once the technology permitted it. There isn't a whole lot else to say about this one that I haven't said already. Next up is White Hole. A white hole? See you then.
Oh, too bad we can't watch White Hole. It's getting late, though. Definitely next week. I guess I'll let the credits run. Partly out of laziness. Although, I take it back.
If you don't go sub a program loop, you'll never get a subroutine.
We have a human expression which is pretty similar. Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Oh no, I think the Android one is punchier.
All right. Let me get caught up on the chat here and then we'll wrap up. Funny thing is, Rimmer was based on a real person Rob and Doug knew. I've never heard that. For years, I heard that line as a quarterback with the Bengals. My only experience with rugby is watching my cousin play, and it's pretty rough. I've heard that. I remember people pointing out in the comments that Zero-G football appears to be based on American football. Oh yeah, I guess it is. I never really, I mean, I'm used to seeing American football, so I never really, thought about how unusual that is, or not unusual, but I don't know. Something that could have been mentioned. Lister's head popping is weirdly satisfying. I want to cosplay that dancing demon in Once More with Feeling. Thank you, that was the title. I couldn't remember the title off the top of my head. That'd be interesting to see somebody attempt that cosplay. First appearance of Sassy Crichton. Poor Crichton is someone who once had to spend hours listening to a German in-law talking me through his old family photos. Oh God. I never had to look at someone's old family photos. Unless I wanted to. The guy who did the voice of the computer is also the guy that played the Mad Astro in Sirens. Ah. Yeah, I like Hattie too. As soon as the camera focused on Rimmer's smiling face, we knew immediately that something bad was about to happen to him. Yeah. He liked me saying, give the guy a break, he needs some kind of entertainment. I do think Lister enjoyed that, though, watching... I mean, I do think Rimmer enjoyed watching Lister catch on fire, though. I get the feeling that Crichton secretly enjoys himself in Legion as well when he's trying to knock Rimmer out. Yeah, definitely. I lied twice is an iconic line. Yeah, that was pretty good. There's an extra bit in the script where Lister draws a bullseye on his own groin and goads the simulant into kicking him. That's pretty good, too. Oh, yeah, the bit with Cat whacking him with the shovel was great. End to the scene, yeah. Star Wars Justice Field. Darth Sidious electrocutes himself. Would Rimmer actually feel guilt about the accident? Must have been buried deep, because he would usually try to excuse it in his own mind. True, but I don't know. I would think that the fact that he feels the need to excuse it would mean that he knows he feels some guilt over it, if that makes any sense. Sorry, my throat's giving out and I'm almost out of chloroseptic. There's only a tiny bit in there. I didn't chug it or anything. So it's spewing time. Puts on hat. Back into the universe. Points finger. Look forward to Whitehole next week with one of the most iconic conversations in the whole series. I know, right? The way Cat nods at Crichton like he knows what he's talking about. Justice Field. Lex Luthor tries to steal 40 cakes, but he loses his favorite foods in exchange. I like that. 40 cakes. I did play rugby a little as a kid. Fortunately, there's only so rough that kids can be compared to adults. Yeah, that's a good point. Imagine boxing in the Justice Field. The other guy wouldn't have to do anything to win. Yeah, I think I'm a little more critical of the Justice Field when the idea comes up again in a later episode. I think it's because Rimmer feels the guilt and failure and everything else, and that's why he constructs all the stories about how it's someone else's fault. Yeah, there you go. That's what I was trying to say. I think you worded it better. Chug, chug, chug. Again, I think that's why they tried to retcon it in the novel where Rimmer has nothing to do with the accident. God, I love how that guilty line is referenced in Megatron's trial on Cybertron for the IDW comics, and it's Starscream that says it. That's awesome. Okay, everybody, thanks for joining me. This has been fun. I guess I'll probably continue this next week, unless maybe I decide to do an art stream or something. Although with Whitehole coming up, I'm guessing you guys would rather watch more Red Dwarf, so we'll see. I have a drawing I'm working on. It's very basic. Actually, I could show it to you. I wanted to do a practice watercolor painting, and so I started to do this little drawing. Whoops. Sorry. Piece of paper flew out. I don't know how well this is going to show, but I started... Hang on, let me make it so I could see myself in real time here. So I started drawing one of my... This was going to be Isis, but... I've decided I've done too many drawings of Isis, so I might make it into Sylvia, because I haven't drawn her as much. And I don't expect that I'll have it done by next weekend, but whenever I have it done, maybe I'll color it on stream. So what is it? A man of such awesome stupidity, he even objects to his own defense counsel. That's a good line. This was great fun. I hope to make it for the next one too. Whitehole is definitely my top 5 episodes. Yeah, everybody loves Whitehole. Thanks, Birdie. You too, Daryl. It's a little blurred on the camera, but I saw a basic figure. Yeah, it's in the blue line stage, so it's going to be hard to make out at this point. So anyway, like I said, thanks for joining me, everybody, and I will see you next week. If I can remember how to end the stream properly, I think I do it this way.